Viruses are not technically alive. They cannot reproduce on their own, have no metabolism, and do not respond to stimuli. They are molecules of DNA or RNA wrapped in protein that hijack cells to replicate. There are more viruses in a tablespoon of seawater than there are people in Europe. An estimated 10 million viruses per milliliter. Most are bacteriophages. The largest known virus is pithovirus, visible with a light microscope. It measures 1.5 microns, as large as some bacteria. It was discovered frozen in Siberian permafrost for 30,000 years. Antibiotics have saved more than 200 million lives since their discovery. But overuse is creating resistant superbugs. It is estimated that by 2050, 10 million people will die per year from resistance. The bacterium E. coli reproduces every 20 minutes under ideal conditions. A single bacterium could generate more than 1 million descendants in 7 hours. Your intestine has trillions of beneficial E. coli. Bacteriophages could be the solution to superbugs. They are viruses that only infect bacteria. Phage therapy was common before antibiotics and is now resurging. Ebola has a mortality rate of 50 to 90%, depending on the strain. It causes massive hemorrhaging. There is no cure, only supportive treatment. Its natural origin is fruit bats. The rabies virus kills nearly 100% of infected people once symptoms appear. But it is 100% preventable, with immediate vaccination after a bite. Only 14 people have survived symptomatic rabies. Smallpox killed more than 300 million people in the 20th century alone. It was eradicated through mass vaccination in 1980. It is the greatest public health victory in history. Prions are infectious agents simpler than viruses, just misfolded proteins. They cause mad cow disease. They have no DNA or RNA, but replicate by converting normal proteins into abnormal ones. The oldest revived bacterium was 250 million years old. It was trapped in salt crystals. It entered a state of dormancy and was revived in a laboratory. Life is extraordinarily resilient. There are bacteria that eat plastic. Ideonella sakaiensis was discovered in 2016 at a Japanese recycling center. It breaks down PET, plastic bottles. It could help solve the plastic crisis. Antibiotics were discovered by accident. Alexander Fleming left a bacterial culture uncovered in 1928. A fungus, Penicillium, contaminated the plate and killed the nearby bacteria. Tuberculosis remains one of the deadliest infectious diseases. It kills 1.5 million people per year. It has existed in humans for 70,000 years. Multi-drug-resistant strains are concerning. HIV/AIDS has killed more than 40 million people since 1981. Although now manageable with antiretrovirals, there is no cure. Some individuals are naturally resistant. The Yellowstone supervolcano could erupt at any moment. Its last major eruption was 640,000 years ago. If it exploded today, it would cover half of the U.S. in ash and cause a global volcanic winter. Earthquakes can make the earth ring like a bell. The 2010 Chile earthquake, magnitude 8.8, made the entire planet vibrate for weeks. It was detected by seismographs worldwide. The most powerful earthquake ever recorded was in Chile in 1960, magnitude 9.5. It generated tsunamis that reached Hawaii and Japan. It killed 5,000 people and left 2 million homeless. Tsunamis travel at the speed of a commercial airplane in the open ocean, 800 kilometers per hour. In deep water, they are imperceptible, less than 1 meter. Upon reaching the coast, they slow down, but grow up to 30 meters. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami released energy equivalent to 23,000 Hiroshima bombs. It killed 230,000 people in 14 countries. It was one of the deadliest natural disasters in history. The most violent tornadoes, EF5, have winds over 300 kilometers per hour. They can lift entire houses. The longest recorded tornado traveled 352 kilometers across 3 U.S. states. The longest recorded lightning bolt traveled 768 kilometers across 3 U.S. states in 2020. It lasted 17.1 seconds. Lightning bolts typically measure 3 to 5 kilometers and last less than a second. The deadliest avalanche in history killed 18,000 people. It occurred in Peru in 1970 after an earthquake. A block of ice from Huascarán broke off, creating a mud and rock slide at 300 kilometers per hour. The largest landslide in history was at Mount St. Helens in 1980. It removed 2.8 cubic kilometers of the mountain. The eruption reduced the volcano's height by 400 meters. Geysers are rare. There are only 1,000 in the world. Half are in Yellowstone. They require very specific geological conditions: groundwater, porous rocks, a nearby magma chamber, and natural plumbing. The tallest geyser in the world is Steamboat in Yellowstone, with jets reaching 90 meters. It is unpredictable and can go years without erupting. Old Faithful is smaller but more regular. The deadliest volcanic eruption was Mount Tambora, Indonesia, in 1815. It directly killed 71,000 people. Its volcanic winter caused the year without a summer in 1816, global famines, and 100,000 indirect deaths. Krakatoa erupted in 1883 with a force 13,000 times greater than Hiroshima. The sound was the loudest ever recorded in history, heard 4,800 kilometers away. It created 40-meter tsunamis. Submarine volcanoes produce 75% of the lava expelled on Earth. There are more than 1 million submarine volcanoes. Some create new islands, such as Hunga Tonga, Hunga Ha'apai, formed in 2015. The Pacific Ring of Fire concentrates 90% of the world's earthquakes. It is a 40,000-kilometer zone with 452 volcanoes. It includes Japan, the Philippines, Indonesia, New Zealand, and the west coast of the Americas. Tectonic plates move as fast as your fingernails grow, 2 to 10 centimeters per year. Europe and North America are moving apart 2.5 centimeters annually. In 250 million years, there will be a new supercontinent, Pangaea Ultima. Earth's inner core is solid, but the outer core is liquid. The inner core reaches 5,400 degrees Celsius, hotter than the surface of the sun. The difference creates the magnetic field that protects us from solar wind. Diamonds form 150 to 200 kilometers deep and take billions of years. They reach the surface in violent volcanic eruptions. Most are over 1 billion years old. The gold on Earth comes from collisions of neutron stars. These events create heavy elements through nucleosynthesis. Gold arrived on Earth in meteorites during the late heavy bombardment. Earth gains 40,000 tons of space dust per year. It comes from disintegrated asteroids and comets. It is imperceptible, but over billions of years, it adds significant mass. The human brain generates electrical waves even during sleep. The EEG detects 5 types: delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma. During REM sleep, activity is similar to being awake. 40% of your brain is active, even when you are doing nothing. The default mode network activates at rest and is related to creativity, memory, and imagination. Synesthesia affects 4% of the population. Senses blend. They may see sounds or taste words. It is not a disorder, but a fascinating perceptual difference. The tip of the tongue phenomenon occurs when you partially remember something. Your brain has the information, but cannot fully access it. It happens more with proper names and rare words. Déjà vu might be a temporary error in the memory system. One theory suggests that information goes first to long-term memory before conscious perception, creating the illusion of recollection. Albert Einstein's brain was stolen during his autopsy. Pathologist Thomas Harvey kept it without permission. Later studies found a parietal lobe, math and space, 15% larger than average. Neuroplasticity allows the brain to reorganize after injuries. People who lost their left hemisphere as children can develop language with the right hemisphere. The brain is more adaptable than we thought. Phantom limb syndrome affects 80% of amputees. They feel the missing limb and even pain in it. The brain maintains the body map, even though the limb is gone. You can have two brain hemispheres with different personalities. In patients with a severed corpus callosum, callosotomy, each hemisphere can want different things simultaneously. The brain processes images faster than text. 90% of the information reaching the brain is visual. We process an image in 13 milliseconds. Multitasking is a myth. The brain quickly switches between tasks. Each switch has a cognitive cost that reduces efficiency by up to 40%. We are better at doing one thing at a time. The longest neuron in the human body goes from the spinal cord to the big toe. It can measure more than 1 meter. Signals travel at 120 meters per second along this neuron. Memories can be artificially created, altered, or erased. Experiments with optogenetics in mice have implanted false memories. This questions the reliability of memory in legal testimony. The brain consumes more energy during deep sleep than when watching television. It sleeps actively, consolidating memories, eliminating toxins, and reorganizing neural connections. It is not shutting down. General anesthesia remains partially a mystery. We know it works, but not exactly how it disrupts consciousness. One recent theory points to the disruption of microtubules in neurons. The platypus is one of the few venomous mammals. Males have a spur on their hind foot that injects venom. It is not lethal to humans, but causes intense pain and swelling. The venom is used during mating season to compete with other males. The boxfish has a cubic shape, and its skeleton is a bony box that protects it. It can only move its eyes, fins, and tail. Its shape inspired the design of a concept car by Mercedes-Benz. The glass frog has transparent belly skin, revealing its internal organs. This includes the beating heart and liver. It is camouflage. Being green and translucent, it blends in with leaves. The Komodo dragon is the largest lizard in the world, reaching up to 3 meters and 70 kilograms. It kills with a septic bite, full of bacteria and anticoagulant venom. The kiwi bird is a flightless bird from New Zealand that lays the largest egg in proportion to its body, up to 20% of its weight. The egg is so large that the female can barely move before laying it. The colossal squid is heavier than the giant squid, reaching 500 kilograms. It has eyes the size of basketballs and sharp beaks. It lives in the Antarctic Ocean and is prey for sperm whales. The tardigrade is the most resilient animal on the planet. It can survive in space. Extreme pressures, radiation, temperatures from minus 272 degrees Celsius to 150 degrees Celsius, and decades without water, entering a state of cryptobiosis. The leopard seal is a fearsome predator of Antarctica, hunting penguins and other seals. It has specialized teeth for filtering krill, but can also tear flesh. It is the only seal that feeds on other marine mammals. The pufferfish inflates with water or air to appear larger and avoid being swallowed. It is the second most venomous vertebrate in the world. Its liver and skin contain tetrodotoxin, 1,200 times more lethal than cyanide. The axolotl is a Mexican amphibian that retains its larval characteristics throughout its life. It can regenerate limbs, spinal cord, heart, and brain. The honeybee performs a dance to communicate the location of flowers to its hive mates. The waggle dance indicates distance and direction relative to the sun. It is one of the most complex animal communication systems. The octopus, two of its hearts stop beating when it swims. The systemic heart pumps blood to the body, and the two branchial hearts pump to the gills. When swimming, the branchial hearts stop due to pressure, which is why it prefers to crawl. The camel can drink up to 150 liters of water in a few minutes, and its humps store fat, not water. Fat is an energy reserve. When metabolized, it obtains water, but also loses weight. It can go weeks without drinking. The sloth defecates only once a week, climbing down from the tree to do so, which makes it very vulnerable. This strange behavior is believed to fertilize the trees it inhabits or to communicate with other sloths. The Greenland shark is the longest living vertebrate, with a lifespan of 250 to 500 years. It does not reach sexual maturity until age 150. It grows only 1 centimeter per year. Its meat is toxic due to its high urea content. The praying mantis is the only insect that can rotate its head 180 degrees. Its compound eyes give it excellent vision for hunting. The female sometimes devours the male after mating, sexual cannibalism. The African elephant has the longest gestation period of any animal, 22 months. Calves weigh 100 kilograms at birth and are nursed for up to 5 years. Elephants have a very complex matriarchal social structure. The bottlenose dolphin recognizes itself in the mirror, indicating self-awareness. Only a few animals have this ability. They also have proper names. They distinguish themselves by whistles and call each other. The humpback whale produces complex songs that can last for hours and travel thousands of kilometers. The songs change each season, and all males in a population sing the same song, which evolves over time. The archerfish spits a jet of water to knock insects off branches. It adjusts its aim according to distance and the refraction of light in water. It can reach up to 2 meters. The chameleon has a tongue that can be longer than its body and projects in 0.07 seconds. The tip is sticky and muscular, capable of catching large prey. Its eyes move independently. The hummingbird is the only bird that can fly backwards and hover in the air. It beats its wings up to 80 times per second, 200 during courtship, and its heart beats up to 1,260 times per minute. To survive the night, it enters torpor. The beaver builds dams that can be seen from space, altering the landscape and creating wetlands. Its dams are the only animal structures visible from orbit. It modifies the environment so much that it is called an ecosystem engineer. The leafcutter ant cultivates fungi for food. It does not eat the leaves it cuts, but uses them as a substrate to grow a fungus that it feeds on. It is a symbiotic relationship of 50 million years of evolution. The vampire bat feeds on blood and has a thermoregulation system to detect warm veins. Its sharp incisors make a painless cut, and its saliva contains an anticoagulant. It shares blood with other hungry bats. The deepest point of the Mariana Trench has been visited by only 3 people in submersibles, 2 in 1960 and James Cameron in 2012. It is deeper than Everest is high. The pressure is 1,100 atmospheres. Lake Baikal contains 20% of the world's unfrozen fresh water and is 1,642 meters deep. It is home to 1,700 species, two-thirds endemic, such as the Baikal seal, the only freshwater seal. It is 25 million years old. The Amazon River has over 1,000 tributaries, and its flow exceeds the sum of the next 7 largest rivers combined. During the wet season, its width can exceed 40 kilometers. Its basin is home to the world's largest rainforest. The Sahara Desert is nearly the size of the United States, at 9.2 million square kilometers. If it were a country, it would be the 7th largest. Only 25% is sand. The rest is rocky mountains, gravel, and stone plains. The city of La Paz in Bolivia is the highest capital city in the world, at 3,650 meters above sea level. El Alto Airport is at 4,061 meters, the highest international airport. Lack of oxygen affects visitors. The driest place on Earth is the Atacama Desert in Chile, with areas where rain has never been recorded. Some weather stations have gone 400 years without precipitation. However, life exists, bacteria, lichens, and cacti that capture fog. The rainiest place on the planet is Mawsynram in India, with 11,871 millimeters of rain per year. It is in the Khasi Hills, where monsoons release all their moisture. The record for rain in 1 year was 26,000 millimeters, almost 26 meters. The coldest inhabited place is Oymyakon in Russia, with a recorded minimum temperature of minus 71.2 degrees Celsius. Its 500 inhabitants live by hunting, fishing, and reindeer herding. Mercury thermometers freeze, and cars must be kept in heated garages or buried to prevent freezing. The hottest place on the planet is the Lut Desert in Iran, with 70.7 degrees Celsius on the surface. No life exists, only rocks and dark sand dunes that absorb heat. Air temperature can exceed 50 degrees Celsius in the shade. The largest island in the world is Greenland, with 2.1 million square kilometers. It is 3 times the size of Spain. 80% is covered in ice. If it melted, sea levels would rise 7 meters. Australia is a continent, not an island. The largest archipelago in the world is Indonesia, with more than 17,000 islands, of which only 6,000 are inhabited. It stretches over 5,000 kilometers from Sumatra to Papua. It has the 4th largest population in the world. The longest and deepest fjord in the world is Scoresby-Sund in Greenland, with a length of 350 kilometers and depth of 1,500 meters. It is filled with icebergs and is only accessible in summer. It harbors rich marine life, seals, whales, polar bears. The deepest canyon in the world is the Colca Canyon in Peru, with a depth of 3,270 meters. It is more than twice as deep as the Grand Canyon. The Colca River carved it through the Andes. It is famous for the flight of the Andean condor. The highest mountain in the solar system is Olympus Mons on Mars, a volcano 22 kilometers high. It is 3 times the height of Everest, and its base is as wide as France. On Earth, gravity does not allow mountains that high. The most active volcano in the world is Kilauea in Hawaii, erupting almost continuously since 1983. Its fluid lava flows have created new territory. It is visited by thousands of tourists each year. For Hawaiians, it is the home of the goddess Pele. The highest waterfall in the world is Angel Falls in Venezuela. With a height of 979 meters, 19 times Niagara, the water falls from the top of Ollantaytambo, a sandstone tipway. It was discovered by Jimmy Angel in 1933. The widest waterfall in the world is Iguazu, located in Argentina, with a width of 2,700 meters. It has 275 individual falls. The Devil's Throat is the largest, with a height of 80 meters. It is a World Heritage Site. The longest river in the world is the Amazon, 7,062 kilometers, followed by the Nile, 6,650 kilometers. The Amazon has more flow and more tributaries, but the exact length is debated. The Nile was considered the longest, until 2007. The highest navigable lake in the world is Lake Titicaca in Peru. At 3,812 meters, it covers 8,372 square kilometers and is 281 meters deep. It harbors unique species and the floating islands of the Uros, made of reeds. The deepest lake in Europe is Hornindalsvatnet in Norway, with a depth of 514 meters. Its water is so pure that it is drinkable. It is located 53 meters above sea level, but its bottom is 461 meters below sea level. Worcestershire sauce also comes from an Indian recipe, fermented for 18 months. It contains anchovies, tamarind, molasses, vinegar, onion, garlic, and spices. It was originally used as a medicine. It is a key ingredient in the Bloody Mary. White chocolate is not chocolate in the strict sense because it does not contain cocoa liquor, only cocoa butter, milk, and sugar. In Switzerland, it is not legally considered chocolate. It has a sweeter and less intense flavor than dark chocolate. Milk chocolate was invented by Daniel Peter, Switzerland, 1875, using condensed milk from his neighbor Henri Nestlé. He created the first milk chocolate bar. Nestlé and Peter partnered and created one of the world's largest companies. The first hard candy in history was barley sugar, United Kingdom, 17th century, made with barley and sugar. It was sold in pharmacies as a cough medicine. The first lollipop on a stick was invented in Spain, 1958. Modern chewing gum was invented in 1870 when Thomas Adams tried Mexican chicle from the sapodilla tree. He failed to vulcanize it, but discovered it could be chewed. He added licorice flavor, and chewing gum was born. Today, a synthetic base is used. The first carbonated soft drink was soda water, invented by Joseph Priestley, 1767, who discovered how to infuse water with CO2. It was not meant for drinking, but for studying gases. Schweppes commercialized it in 1783. Coca-Cola arrived in 1886. Pepsi-Cola was invented in 1893 under the name Brad's Drink and was renamed in 1898. Its creator, Caleb Bradham, was a pharmacist who wanted a beverage that aided digestion, hence the name Pepsin. He went bankrupt twice before succeeding. The first orange soda was Orange Crush, 1916. Before that, orange sodas used artificial flavorings. Crush used real orange juice. Fontes was born in Germany during World War II due to a lack of Coca-Cola. Beer is the oldest alcoholic beverage in human history, with records dating back 7,000 years in Mesopotamia. The Sumerians had a goddess of beer, Ninkasi. It was used as payment for workers. The oldest recipe is found in a Sumerian hymn. The world's oldest wine, with archaeological remains, is 8,000 years old. From Georgia, Caucasus, they found vessels with wine residue. Georgians still make wine in cuvevres, buried amphorae, just as they did millennia ago. The language with the most native speakers in the world is Mandarin Chinese. 920 million. It is followed by Spanish, 475 million. English, 370 million. Hindi, 345 million. And Arabic, 300 million. In total, native plus second language, English leads with 1.4 billion. The oldest language in the world still spoken is Tamil, India, Sri Lanka, Singapore. It has been spoken for over 2,500 years, with inscriptions from the 3rd century BC. Greek is also very ancient, 3,500 years of literature. The shortest alphabet has 12 letters, Rotokas, Papua New Guinea. The longest is Khmer, Cambodia, with 74 letters. Hawaiian has 13. Spanish has 27, including Nua, and English has 26. Cyrillic Russian has 33. The longest word in Spanish accepted by the RAE has 23 letters, Elektroencephalografista. In German, compound words can be extremely long. Rindfleischetikettierungsüberwachung, Aufgabenübertragungsgesetz, 63 letters, a law on meat labeling. The language with the most consonantal sounds is Xooa, Botswana, Namibia, with 122 consonants. It is a Khoisan language famous for its clicks. It has 5 basic clicks: bilabial, dental, lateral, alveolar, palatal. Sign language is not universal. There are over 300 different sign languages. American Sign Language is different from British Sign Language. Spanish Sign Language is yet another. There are even regional dialects. Whistled language is a real form of communication in some cultures. Silbo Gomero is a whistled language that reproduces Spanish with high-frequency whistles, audible up to 3 kilometers. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Morse code, 1836, was the first digital telecommunication system. The most famous phrase is SOS, POP, chosen for its ease, not for being save our souls. The U.S. Coast Guard stopped monitoring it in 1995. The term bug in computing was popularized by a real insect. In 1947, a moth in a relay. The term was already used in engineering since the 19th century, but this incident cemented it. The process of fixing bugs is called debugging. The word OK is probably the most understood word on the planet. Its most accepted origin is the humorous abbreviation of all correct. All correct, misspelled, in 1830s Boston. It has also been linked to the English OK and the Choctaw OK. Spanish is the fastest spoken language, syllables per second, according to studies. Japanese and French follow. Mandarin and German are slower in information density per syllable. The letter E is the most common in Spanish. It is followed by A and O. The least common is W. In English, E also leads. The dot over the I is called a tittle. In typography, a dot. The tilde is the mark over the N. The acute accent is called tilde, or orthographic accent, in Spanish. The circumflex is another diacritic. Esperanto, the most successful constructed language, has native speakers, about 1,000 to 2,000. It was created in 1887 by L.L. Zamenhof to facilitate international communication. In the Philippines, Spanish was an official language until 1973. Today, Chabacano, a Spanish-based Creole, has about 700,000 speakers in Zamboanga and Cavite. It preserves vocabulary from 17th century Spanish with Austronesian grammar. The most popular sport in the world is football, soccer, with 4 billion followers. It is followed by cricket, 2.5 billion, field hockey, 2 billion, tennis, 1 billion, and volleyball, 900 million. The most decorated athlete in history is Michael Phelps, swimming, with 28 Olympic medals, 23 gold. He is followed by Larissa Latinina, gymnastics, with 18 medals, 9 golds. Usain Bolt has 8 Olympic golds. The football player with the most official goals is Cristiano Ronaldo. He is followed by Lionel Messi, Pelé, 757 official, Romario, 772, and Joseph Bican, 805, unofficial. Ronaldo also holds the Champions League record, 140. The tennis player with the most Grand Slams is Novak Djokovic, followed by Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer. Djokovic also holds the record for weeks as world number 1, 400 plus, and Masters 1000 titles, 40. The most decorated football club in the world is Real Madrid, with 35 La Liga titles and 14 Champions Leagues. They are followed by FC Barcelona, 27 La Liga, 5 champions, Bayern Munich, 33 Bundesliga, 6 champions, and Juventus, 36 Serie A, 2 champions. The oldest sport in the world is wrestling, with depictions in caves dating back 15,000 years. Wrestling was an Olympic sport in ancient Greece, 708 BC. Athletics is also very ancient, 776 BC. The world record for the high jump is 2.45 meters, Javier Sotomayor, 1993. The women's record is 2.09 meters, Stefka Kostadinova, 1987. One of the oldest records. The men's pole vault record is 6.23 meters, Armand Duplantis, 2023. The men's marathon world record is 2 hours, 0 minutes, 35 seconds, Kelvin Kiptum, 2023. The women's record is 2 hours, 11 minutes, 53 seconds, Tigsta Sefa, 2023. Kiptum passed away in 2024 at only 24 years old. The average recreational time is around 4:30 men and 5 women. Chess has more possible openings than atoms in the universe, 10 to the power of 120 possible games. After 4 moves, there are 318 billion positions. The Shannon number, 10 to the power of 43, estimates the number of legal positions. It is the most practiced mental sport. Poker has a probability of 1 in 649,740 of being dealt a royal flush, the best hand. The royal flush, 10 Jack, Queen, King, Ace of the same suit, is the rarest hand. It is followed by 4 aces, 1 in 54,912. The first FIFA World Cup was held in Uruguay, 1930, with 13 teams and won by Uruguay. There were no qualifiers. Teams were invited. The final was watched by 93,000 people. The original trophy, Jules Rimet, was stolen in 1983 and never recovered. The FIFA World Cup is the most watched sporting event, with 3.5 billion viewers in 2022. The 2022 final, Argentina-France, was the most watched in history. The modern Olympic Games were first held in Athens, 1896, with 14 countries and 241 athletes, all men. Women competed for the first time in Paris, 1900. Today, 206 countries and about 11,000 athletes participate. The first Olympic marathon, 1896, was won by Spiridon Louis, Greece, who became a national hero. The original distance, 40 kilometers, was standardized to 42.195 kilometers in London, 1908, so that the race could start at Windsor Castle and finish in front of the royal box. Boxing was an Olympic sport in ancient Greece, but with different rules. There were no rounds or weight classes. Boxers wrapped their hands in leather thongs. Modern boxing, with gloves, began in 1867 with the Marquis of Queensberry rules. The world's most valuable company, 2024, is Apple, with a market capitalization of $3 trillion. It is followed by Microsoft, $2.8 trillion, Saudi Aramco, $2.1 trillion. Apple was the first to reach $3 trillion. The world's most valuable brand is Apple, valued at $517 billion, 2024. It is followed by Google, $342 billion, Amazon, $308 billion, Microsoft, $252 billion, and McDonald's, $196 billion. Brand value measures recognition and perception. The richest man in the world, 2024, is Elon Musk, with $250 billion. He is followed by Jeff Bezos, $180 billion, Bernard Arnault, $170 billion, Bill Gates, $130 billion, and Mark Zuckerberg, $120 billion. The richest woman is Françoise Bettencourt-Meyers, L'Oréal, with $100 billion. The city with the most millionaires in the world is New York City. It is followed by Tokyo, San Francisco, London, and Singapore. The country with the highest public debt in the world is the U.S., with $34 trillion, 2024. That is 122% of its GDP. It is followed by China, $14 trillion, and Japan, $12 trillion, but 260% of its GDP. Global public debt exceeds $100 trillion. The country with the highest GDP per capita, PPP, is Luxembourg, $143,000. It is followed by Singapore, $133,000, Ireland, $124,000, Qatar, $114,000, and Switzerland, $98,000. Luxembourg owes its wealth to the financial sector and being home to multinational corporations. The highest income tax rate in the world is in Côte d'Ivoire, up to 60%. It is followed by Finland, 56%, Japan, 55%, Denmark, 55%, and Austria, 55%. There are countries with no income tax: UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahamas, Monaco. The oldest currency still in use is the pound sterling, United Kingdom, dating back to the year 775. The symbol pound comes from the L of Libra. The US dollar is younger, 1785. The Japanese yen, 1871. The euro, 1999. The world's oldest stock exchange is the Amsterdam Stock Exchange, 1602. Founded by the Dutch East India Company, VOC. It is followed by the London Stock Exchange, 1698, New York Stock Exchange, 1792, Paris Bourse, 1724, and Tokyo Stock Exchange, 1878. The world's oldest bank still in operation is Monte dei Paschi di Siena, Italy, 1472. It began as a mount of piety and still has its headquarters in the original palace. The second oldest is Berenberg Bank, Germany, 1590. The first minted coins in history were created in Lydia, Turkey, around 600 BC, made of electrum. It was ordered by King Alyattes. The innovation spread rapidly throughout Greece and Persia. The first banknotes in history were used in China during the Tang Dynasty, 7th century, but became widespread during the Song Dynasty, 11th century. Marco Polo was amazed to see that paper money was accepted. In Europe, the first banknotes were Swedish, 1601. The first automated teller machine, ATM, was installed in London, 1967, at a Barclays branch. The first customer was actor Reg Varney. It used special checks impregnated with radioactive carbon for identification. Today, there are 3.5 million ATMs worldwide. The first credit card was the Diners Club card, 1950, created by Frank McNamara after forgetting his wallet at a restaurant. Initially, it was only accepted at 27 restaurants in New York. American Express arrived in 1958. The first barcode was used on a pack of Wrigley's chewing gum in 1974 at a supermarket in Ohio. The scanner read the code and registered the price, 67 cents. The pack is in the Smithsonian Museum. The first online purchase in history was a Sting CD, 10 Summoner's Tales, in 1994, sold by Netmarket. The buyer used an encrypted credit card. The first book sold by Amazon was Fluid Concepts and Creative Analogies by Douglas Hofstadter, 1995. Jeff Bezos packaged it and took it to the post office himself. The first product from Apple was the Apple I, 1976, a computer without a case or monitor, sold for $666.66. Today, a well-preserved Apple I can fetch $500,000 at auctions. The first product from Microsoft was a basic interpreter for the Altair 8800, 1975. Bill Gates and Paul Allen wrote it in a few weeks. It was the beginning of the Microsoft empire. MS-DOS arrived in 1981. The first IBM computer was the IBM 5150, 1981, which popularized the term PC, personal computer. It used Microsoft's MS-DOS and an Intel 8088 processor. The human brain has approximately 86 billion neurons and 100 trillion synapses. If we counted one synapse per second, it would take 3 million years to count them all. Neurons communicate at 430 kilometers per hour. The brain does not feel pain. It has no nociceptors. That is why neurosurgeries can be performed while the patient is awake. Headaches come from the meninges, blood vessels, or muscles of the skull. We make 95% of our decisions unconsciously. The brain processes information and decides before we are conscious of it. Consciousness is more of a narrator than a decision maker. Sleep is essential for memory consolidation. During deep sleep, the brain transfers memories from the hippocampus to the cortex. During REM sleep, emotions are processed. Poor sleep affects learning and increases the risk of Alzheimer's. Music activates the same brain areas. That is why it gives us pleasure, chills, and motivation. Playing an instrument activates both hemispheres simultaneously. The placebo effect works even when the patient knows it is a placebo. The expectation and the ritual of taking something trigger natural relief mechanisms, endorphins, immune system. It is effective for pain, anxiety, or fatigue. Imposter syndrome affects 70% of people at some point. It is the feeling of not deserving achievements, of being a fraud. It was experienced by Einstein, Maya Angelou, and Tom Hanks. It is combated through therapy and sharing the experience. The Dunning-Kruger effect is the tendency of incompetent people to overestimate their ability. The less you know, the less aware you are of your ignorance. Experts, on the other hand, tend to underestimate their competence. Human memory is reconstructive, not reproductive. We do not store memories like video files. Rather, we reconstruct them each time from fragments. That is why memories change and can be false. The brain continues to develop until age 25. The prefrontal cortex, impulse control, planning, is the last to mature. That is why teenagers are more impulsive. After that, the brain remains plastic throughout life. The average attention span of a human is 8 seconds, less than that of a goldfish, 9 seconds. But this data is misleading. Attention is complex. The problem is not duration, but multitasking and digital distractions. The human brain can generate enough electricity to power an LED light bulb. An active brain generates 10 to 23 watts. That is not much power, but it is enough for a dim light. Thoughts are electrical impulses. Fear and anxiety all activate the amygdala, the same region that processes real danger. That is why phobias feel so real, even though we know they are irrational. The amygdala does not distinguish between real and imagined danger. Laughter is contagious and releases endorphins, strengthening social bonds. Laughing together increases the feeling of belonging. The brain has mirror neurons that make us imitate others' expressions, including laughter. The female orgasm does not have a clear reproductive function. Some theories suggest it helps with sperm retention. It also releases oxytocin, which strengthens the partner bond. It is a complex and still unresolved area of study. Depression is not just sadness. It is a complex illness with biological changes in the brain. It affects neurotransmitters, serotonin, norepinephrine, neurogenesis, and brain connectivity. It cannot be overcome with positive thinking. Chronic stress damages the hippocampus, a key region for memory. Cortisol, the stress hormone, kills neurons and reduces neurogenesis. That is why prolonged stress affects memory and learning. Meditation changes the brain's structure. It increases gray matter in regions related to attention and emotional regulation. It also reduces the size of the amygdala, fear and stress. Effects can be seen after weeks of practice. The human brain has a negativity bias. We remember more negative than positive things. It is an evolutionary survival mechanism. Remembering danger is more important than reward. That is why bad news has a greater impact. The illusion of control is the tendency to believe that we can influence random events. That is why people gamble, touch wood, or have rituals. It is a way of reducing anxiety in the face of uncertainty. The smell of rain has a name and comes from a bacterium. Geosmin, produced by soil bacteria, Streptomyces, is released when raindrops hit the ground. It is the smell we associate with rain after a dry spell. Red is the first color lost in darkness, the Purkinje effect. That is why at dusk, reds appear black before blues. The human eye is more sensitive to green light in low light conditions. Right-handed people live, on average, 9 years longer than left-handed people. But this data comes from an old and controversial study. The difference could be due to accidents or biases. 50% of people do not recognize their own recorded voice as their own. When we speak, we hear our voice through the bones of the skull, bone conduction, which adds bass frequencies. A recording only captures air conduction, which sounds higher-pitched and strange. People who speak 2 languages have more gray matter in the brain, especially in regions related to executive control. Learning languages delays brain aging and the onset of dementia. Babies are born with 300 bones, but adults have 206. Many bones fuse during growth, such as those in the skull, fontanelles, and the coccyx, fused vertebrae. Babies also have more cartilage. The human eye can distinguish 10 million colors, but some people, tetrachromats, see 100 million. They have a 4th type of cone in the retina, usually due to a genetic mutation. They are almost always women. Women blink twice as much as men, 19 times per minute versus 11. The reason is unclear, but it could be due to hormonal differences, estrogen, or because female skin is more sensitive to dry eyes. People who snore cannot hear themselves snoring. The brain gets used to the sound and filters it out during sleep. Only others hear it. Loud snoring can be a symptom of sleep apnea. 70% of household dust is dead human skin. We lose between 30,000 and 40,000 skin cells per minute. Dust mites feed on these cells. That is why dust allergies are common. 12% of people dream in black and white. Before color television, most people dreamed in black and white. Today, 80% of dreams are in color. People who have more nightmares tend to be more creative. Nightmares are a way of processing intense emotions and rehearsing responses to dangerous situations. Artists and writers often report more vivid dreams. 1% of the population cannot curl their tongue into a tube shape. This ability is genetic, but not as simple as once thought. It is not a single gene. Multiple genes and factors are involved. People with blue eyes have a common ancestor who lived 6,000 to 10,000 years ago. A mutation in the OCA2 gene reduced melanin production in the iris, giving rise to blue eyes. All blue eyes descend from that person. Red-headed people have a higher risk of melanoma, but also produce more vitamin D with less sunlight. Red melanin, pheomelanin, is less effective at protecting against the sun, but allows vitamin D synthesis in northern latitudes with low light. Kissing serves to evaluate genetic compatibility through smell. When kissing, we exchange pheromones and bacteria. Women are more selective and choose men with different immune system (MHC) genes from their own. 80% of people tilt their heads to the right when kissing, according to studies. It is believed to be due to motor preference and brain lateralization. It is unknown whether left-handers tilt more to the left. The most common first name in the world is Mohammed, with all its variants. It is followed by Maria, Jose, Juan, and Anna. The most common surname is Wang, China, with over 100 million people. 8% of the world's population has green eyes, the rarest color after gray. Brown eyes are the most common, 70 to 80%, followed by blue, 8 to 10%, and green, 2%. Gray is less than 1%. People who live on islands have less genetic diversity, but also fewer infectious diseases due to isolation. Island populations often have high rates of rare genetic diseases, but have also developed unique immunities. Authentic wasabi is one of the most difficult crops to cultivate. It takes 2 years to mature, needs cold running water, and specific shade. That's why 99% of wasabi is dyed horseradish. Saffron is the most expensive spice in the world, $10,000 per kilogram. It takes 150,000 saffron flowers to make 1 kilogram. Each flower has only 3 stigmas that are harvested by hand. The most expensive cheese is Pulo, made from Serbian donkey milk, 1,000 euros per kilogram. It is produced on only one farm. It takes 25 liters of milk to make 1 kilogram of cheese. It has low fat content. Fugu, Japanese pufferfish, contains tetrodotoxin, 1,200 times more lethal than cyanide. Chefs need 3 years of training. Each year, 5 to 10 people die from improper preparation. The most expensive coffee in the world is Kopi Luwak, made from beans digested by civets. It costs $600 per kilogram. The animal eats coffee cherries. The beans ferment in its intestines and are then excreted. White chocolate is technically not chocolate. It contains no solid cocoa, only cocoa butter, sugar, and milk. In some countries, it cannot legally be called chocolate. Bananas are radioactive due to their potassium-40 content. A banana equivalent dose is 0.1 microsieverts. You would need to eat 10 million to suffer radiation poisoning. The most expensive ingredient on a pizza is edible gold. A pizza in New York costs $2,000 and includes caviar, lobster, and 24-karat gold leaves. It is more spectacle than flavor. The tomato was considered poisonous in Europe for 200 years. The rich used pewter plates with lead. Tomato acid leached the lead, causing poisoning. It was the plates, not the tomato. Cheddar cheese owes its orange color to an added dye, annatto. Naturally, it is off-white. In the 17th century, English cheesemakers colored cheddar to appear higher quality. The Carolina Reaper pepper is the world's hottest, 2.2 million Scoville units. The jalapeno has 5,000. It can cause headaches, nausea, and even hallucinations due to released endorphins. The Alba white truffle costs up to 3,000 euros per kilogram. It grows only in certain regions of Italy. It is hunted with trained dogs or pigs. Its aroma fades quickly, so it is eaten fresh. The world's first restaurant was Sobrino de Botín in Madrid, 1725. It is in Guinness. Goya worked there as a young dishwasher. Its original wood-fired oven still works. The oldest living organism is a bristlecone pine tree, 5,067 years old. It was born before the Egyptian pyramids. It is called Methuselah, and its exact location is a secret to protect it. The largest organism in the world is a fungus in Oregon. Armillaria ostoyi covers 965 hectares and weighs 600 tons. It is 2,400 years old. Technically, it is a single clonal organism. The tallest tree in the world is a redwood in California, 115.7 meters. It is called Hyperion. Its exact location is a secret. It is taller than the Statue of Liberty. Bamboo is the fastest growing plant, up to 91 centimeters in 24 hours. Some species grow 1 millimeter per minute, visibly fast. After flowering every 60 to 120 years, it dies. The largest carnivorous plant is Nepenthes raja, with pitchers 41 centimeters long. It can digest rats, lizards, and even small birds. It grows in Borneo. Its digestive fluid is extremely acidic. Plants can hear the sound of water. A study showed that roots grow toward recordings of running water. They detect vibrations through the soil. Breadfruit was so valued, it caused a mutiny. The HMS Bounty was transporting breadfruit trees from Tahiti to the Caribbean in 1789. The crew mutinied partly because of the water used for the trees. The world's largest flower is Rafflesia arnoldii, 1 meter in diameter and 10 kilograms. It smells like rotting meat to attract flies. It is parasitic and has no roots, stems, or leaves of its own. The saguaro cactus can live 200 years and grow 12 meters. It does not develop arms until it is 75 to 100 years old. They are icons of the Sonoran Desert and can store 3,000 liters of water. The California poppy, the state flower, is narcotic. It contains mild alkaloids. Native Americans used it as a sedative. It is not illegal to grow it, but extracting the alkaloids is. The tree of life in Bahrain grows alone in the desert with no apparent water source. It is 400 years old. It is speculated that its roots reach deep water reserves or capture moisture from the air. Plants can recognize their relatives. Studies show they compete less with roots of genetically related plants. This implies a form of underground chemical communication. The most lethal plant-derived poison is ricin, from castor beans. It is 6,000 times more toxic than cyanide. A dose the size of a grain of salt can kill an adult. Trees communicate through a fungal network called the Wood Wide Web. The mycelium connects the roots of different trees. They share nutrients and send danger signals. The desert rose, Adenium, has a swollen trunk that stores water. It can survive months without watering. Its sap is extremely toxic. African tribes used it on poisoned arrows. The most distant object photographed is the galaxy HD1, 13.5 billion light-years away. We see it as it was 330 million years after the Big Bang. Its light has traveled 98% of the age of the universe. The largest known black hole is TON 618, 66 billion solar masses. Its event horizon measures 390 billion kilometers, 2,600 times the Earth-Sun distance. It could swallow our entire solar system. The largest known star is Stephenson 2-18, 2,150 times the Sun's radius. If it were in our solar system, though, its surface would reach beyond Saturn's orbit. The smallest known star is EBL MJ0555-57AB, barely larger than Saturn. It is the lower limit for sustaining nuclear fusion. Any smaller, and it would be a brown dwarf. The brightest observable star is Sirius, 8.6 light-years away. It is 25 times more luminous than the Sun. The ancient Egyptians based their calendar on its heliacal rising. The hottest known planet is Kelt 9b, 4,300 degrees Celsius on its surface. Hotter than many stars. Metals vaporize. It is so close to its star that it is being evaporated. The coldest known planet is OGLE-2005-BLG-390 LB, minus 220 degrees Celsius. It is an ice world 5 times the mass of Earth. It orbits a red dwarf at a great distance. The fastest rotation observed is a pulsar, 716 times per second. PSRJ 1748-2446 AD spins so fast that its equator moves at 24% of the speed of light. Any faster, and it would disintegrate. The longest day belongs to Venus, 243 Earth days. Its day is longer than its year, 225 days. Moreover, it rotates in the opposite direction to most planets. The largest moon in the solar system is Ganymede, Jupiter, larger than Mercury. It has its own magnetic field and a subsurface ocean. If it orbited the Sun, it would be classified as a planet. The largest crater in the solar system is the Aitken Basin on the Moon, 2,500 kilometers in diameter. It is so deep, 13 kilometers, that it exposes the lunar mantle. It formed 4 billion years ago. The most active volcano in the solar system is Io, moon of Jupiter. It has over 400 active volcanoes. The lava reaches 1,600 degrees Celsius. Eruptions launch material 500 kilometers high. The deepest canyon in the solar system is Valles Marineris, on Mars, 7 kilometers deep. It is 10 times longer and 4 times deeper than the Grand Canyon. It could contain the entire United States. The most active comet observed was Hale-Bopp, 1997. Visible to the naked eye for 18 months. Its tail measured 150 million kilometers. It will return in 4,380 years. The largest asteroid is Ceres, 940 kilometers in diameter. It is so large, it was reclassified as a dwarf planet. It has a subsurface ocean and possible salty water geysers. The most recent documented meteorite impact was in Chelyabinsk, Russia, 2013. The object measured 20 meters and exploded at 30 kilometers altitude with an energy of 500 kilotons. It broke windows 200 kilometers away. The largest storm in the solar system is Jupiter's Great Red Spot. It is twice the diameter of Earth. It is a hurricane that has been active for at least 350 years, possibly 500. The tallest geyser in the solar system is on Triton, moon of Neptune, 8 kilometers high. It expels liquid nitrogen that instantly freezes. The Moon has a temperature of -235 degrees Celsius. The largest planetary ring belongs to Saturn, E-ring, 300,000 kilometers wide. It is fed by geysers from the Moon and Enceladus. If it were visible, Saturn would appear 20 times larger in the sky. The largest observed planetary collision was Jupiter with comet Shoemaker-Levy 9, 1994. 21 fragments impacted over a week. Each explosion was visible from Earth. They left dark spots the size of Earth. The longest fingernails ever recorded measured 9.09 meters, the sum of both hands. Lee Redmond, USA, grew them for 30 years. She lost them in a car accident in 2009. The longest hair measured 5.627 meters. Ji Quping, China, grew it from 1973. It takes hours to wash, and she rolls it into a blanket to sleep. The longest tongue measures 10.1 centimeters from tip to palate. Nick Stoberl, USA, can touch his elbow with it. He can easily lick his own elbow. The longest beard measured 5.33 meters. Hans Langseth, Norway, kept it all his life. It is preserved at the Smithsonian Institution. He died in 1927. The largest tattoo in the world covers 100% of the body. Lucky Diamond Rich, Australia/New Zealand, is tattooed even on eyelids, gums, and inside his ears. The largest Barbie doll collection has 15,000 units. Bettina Dorfman, Germany, has been collecting since 1993. She dedicates entire rooms of her house to displaying them. The largest pizza measured 1,261 square meters. It was made in Rome in 2012. It required 9,000 kilograms of flour, 4,500 kilograms of tomato sauce, and 3,900 kilograms of mozzarella. The largest sandwich weighed 2,467 kilograms. It was made in Mexico in 2015. It measured 70 meters long. It contained ham, cheese, lettuce, tomato, and avocado. The largest hamburger weighed 1,164 kilograms. It was cooked in Minnesota, USA, in 2012. It required a crane to flip it. It was eaten by 8,000 people. The largest cake weighed 58,850 kilograms. It was made in Kerala, India, in 2012 for a community celebration. It measured 4 meters long. It was vanilla with chocolate glaze. The largest omelet weighed 5,600 kilograms. It was made in Spain in 2014. It used 16,000 eggs, 1,600 kilograms of potatoes, and 150 liters of oil. It fed 4,000 people. The longest sushi roll measured 3,333 meters. It was made in Moscow in 2017. 200 chefs worked simultaneously. It used 400 kilograms of rice and 250 kilograms of fish. The longest domino chain had 4,345,027 tiles. A Dutch team took 2 months to set it up. The domino effect lasted 1.5 hours to complete. The tallest house of cards measured 7.86 meters. Brian Berg built it without glue. He used 218,792 cards. It took him 44 days. An air conditioner could knock it down. 95% of the oceans remain unexplored. We have mapped Mars better than our own seabeds. Only 12 people have visited the deepest point of the ocean. The pressure at the bottom of the Mariana Trench is equivalent to 50 jumbo jets on your body. At 10,994 meters, the pressure is 1,086 atmospheres. It would instantly crush a human. Underwater rivers exist, flows of extra dense salt water that flow along the bottom. The underwater river in the Black Sea has waterfalls and rapids. If it were on the surface, it would be the sixth largest river in the world. Underwater hydrothermal vents expel water at 400 degrees Celsius. They support entire ecosystems without sunlight. Chemosynthetic bacteria convert chemicals into energy. They could explain the origin of life. Sperm whales can dive up to 3,000 meters deep. They hold their breath for 90 minutes. They hunt giant squid in total darkness using echolocation. Their lungs collapse completely. The deepest fish recorded was a snailfish at 8,336 meters. It is translucent and gelatinous. Extreme pressure is the limit. Any deeper, proteins cannot function. There are lakes and rivers under the ocean formed by ultra-dense brines. The Jacuzzi Lake in the Gulf of Mexico has defined shores. It is so salty that animals that enter die instantly. The goblin shark lives at 1,300 meters deep. It has extendable jaws that project forward to catch prey. It is pink due to blood vessels visible through translucent skin. The giant Japanese jellyfish, Nomura, can weigh 200 kilograms and measure 2 meters. Their massive swarms collapse fishing nets. One stung 800 people on a single beach in one day. The giant oarfish can measure 11 meters. It is the longest bony fish in the world. It lives at 1,000 meters. When it appears on the surface, it is associated with earthquakes. No scientific evidence. The ocean's oxygen minimum zone harbors extreme anaerobic organisms. Some bacteria use nitrates instead of oxygen. This zone is expanding due to climate change. The zombie worm devours whale bones on the seafloor. Osedax has no mouth. It secretes acid to dissolve bones and absorb nutrients. Its roots contain symbiotic bacteria. Deep ocean currents take 1,000 years to complete a global cycle. Water that sinks in the North Atlantic emerges in the Pacific a millennium later. It is the global climate conveyor belt. The most expensive painting sold at public auction is Salvator Mundi, attributed to Leonardo. $450 million. Its authenticity is debated. It was bought by Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The monochrome painting Orange, Red, Yellow by Rothko sold for $87 million. For many, they are just color patches. For others, they provoke deep emotional experience. Yves Klein patented a color, International Klein Blue, IKB. He used it in monochromes worth millions. He sought to capture the essence of the sky. A blank painting by Robert Rauschenberg, White Paintings, inspired John Cage's 4 minutes 33 seconds. They are completely white canvases. According to the artist, they reflect light and shadows from the environment, constantly changing. CRISPR allows editing genes with molecular scissors precision. It revolutionized biology in 2012. It has already been used to cure sickle cell anemia. The ethical debate continues. The first genetically edited babies were born in China in 2018. He Jiankui modified the CCR5 gene to make them resistant to HIV. He was sentenced to prison for illegal human experimentation. Your DNA fits in a microscopic cell, but unrolled it would measure 2 meters. Each cell has 3 billion base pairs. It is coiled so compactly it is invisible to the eye. The smallest known genome belongs to a symbiotic bacterium. 160,000 base pairs. Mycoplasma genitalium. It is 20,000 times smaller than the human genome. It can barely live outside its host. The largest genome belongs to Paris japonica, a plant. 150 billion base pairs. 50 times larger than the human genome. Genome size does not correlate with complexity. Humans share 96% of our DNA with chimpanzees, but that 4% marks crucial differences: complex language, advanced cognition, abstract thinking ability. Genes represent only 2% of your DNA. The other 98% was called junk DNA, but we now know it regulates gene expression and other important functions. Epigenetics shows that your experiences can change how your genes are expressed. Stress, diet, and trauma can activate or silence genes. Some changes are inherited by the next generation. Beethoven composed his Ninth Symphony completely deaf. He never heard his masterpiece. He conducted the premiere, but could not hear the applause. A singer had to turn him around to face the audience. Mozart composed his Requiem on his deathbed. He died before finishing it, at age 35. A student completed the missing sections. There are conspiracy theories about poisoning, but without evidence. The oldest fossil of complex life is 635 million years old. They are impressions of soft-bodied organisms in Ediacara, Australia. They look like leaves, discs, and tubes. They resemble nothing alive today. Trilobites existed for 270 million years. They appeared 521 million years ago and went extinct 252 million years ago. They had incredibly advanced compound eyes with calcite lenses. The oldest amber with trapped insects is 230 million years old. Found in Italy in 2012, it contains perfectly preserved microscopic mites. Jurassic Park amber with mosquitoes is not that old. Prehistoric dragonflies had a wingspan of 75 centimeters. Meganeura lived 300 million years ago when there was more atmospheric oxygen. The extra oxygen allowed giant insects. Lucy is 3.2 million years old. She was found in Ethiopia in 1974. She walked upright, but had a chimpanzee-sized brain. She is one of the most complete skeletons of ancient hominids. Crocodiles have remained almost unchanged for 200 million years. They are living fossils. Their body design is so efficient that evolution has not significantly improved it. Spinosaurus was a semi-aquatic dinosaur with a 1.65-meter dorsal sail. Recent discoveries, 2020, confirmed it had a crocodile-like tail for swimming. It is the largest known carnivorous dinosaur, 15 meters. Dunkleosteus was a prehistoric armored fish, 10 meters long with guillotine-like jaws. It lived 380 million years ago. Its bite was one of the most powerful of any known animal, 6 tons of pressure. Megalodons went extinct 3.6 million years ago. They measured up to 18 meters, 3 times a great white shark. Their fossil teeth measure 18 centimeters. They hunted whales. There is no evidence they still exist. The heaviest snowfall in 24 hours was 193 centimeters in Silver Lake, Colorado, 1921. Some houses were completely buried. In one year, 1971 to 72, Mount Baker, Washington, received 2,896 centimeters of snow. The largest hailstone weighed 1.02 kilograms and measured 20 centimeters in diameter. It fell in Argentina in 2018. It could kill a person. It forms in storms with extremely strong updrafts. The largest recorded dust storm covered 3,000 kilometers of Australia in 2009. It turned day into night in Sydney. It was 200,000 tons of desert dust. Hospitals filled with respiratory problems. The Giza pyramids are perfectly aligned with the cardinal points. The deviation is less than 1/15 of a degree. It is unknown how they achieved such precision 4,500 years ago without a compass. The Great Pyramid of Cheops was the tallest structure in the world for 3,800 years. It stood 146.5 meters tall. It was surpassed by Lincoln Cathedral, England, in 1311 at 160 meters. Stonehenge was built in several phases over 1,500 years. The largest stones weigh 25 tons and were dragged from 30 kilometers away. The blue stones come from Wales, 240 kilometers away. The Moai of Easter Island walked to their positions. They were neither rolled nor dragged. Research showed they were rocked forward using ropes. It is ingenious and efficient. The Roman Colosseum had a drainage system for simulated naval battles. The arena was flooded with water for naumachii. It also had an underground elevator system to bring up animals and gladiators. Angkor Wat is the largest religious monument in the world, 162.6 hectares. It was built in the 12th century in Cambodia. Originally Hindu, it became Buddhist. It appears on Cambodia's flag. The Parthenon in Athens has perfectly straight lines that appear curved. The architects used optical refinements. The columns lean slightly inward and are thicker in the middle to compensate for visual illusions. The Leaning Tower of Pisa began tilting from the start of its construction in 1173. The soft ground gave way. They tried to compensate by building upper floors, taller on the sunken side. Today, it has been stabilized. The Taj Mahal changes color depending on the time: pink at dawn, white at noon, golden at sunset. The semi-transparent white marble reflects the light of the sky. Shah Jahan built it as a tomb for his favorite wife. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon probably never existed. There is no archaeological evidence. They might have been in Nineveh, not Babylon, or be a legend. It is the only ancient wonder of the world without confirmation. 80% of terrestrial species live in tropical forests. But these forests cover only 6% of the Earth's surface. Every minute, an area of jungle equivalent to 27 soccer fields is destroyed. Insects represent 80% of all animal species on the planet. There are more than 1 million described species, but there could be 10 million. They are crucial for pollination and decomposition. Bees contribute to 1 out of every 3 bites of food you eat. They pollinate 75% of crops. Their disappearance would be catastrophic. Colony collapse disorder threatens global populations. 90% of large marine species have disappeared since 1950. Industrial overfishing is emptying the oceans. Bottom trawling destroys seabed ecosystems. Coral reefs cover less than 1% of the ocean, but harbor 25% of marine life. They are the rainforests of the sea. 50% have disappeared in 30 years due to ocean acidification and warming. 1/3 of all amphibian species are endangered. They are indicators of environmental health. Chytridiomycosis, a fungus, has annihilated entire populations. 200 species have already gone extinct. The pangolin is the most trafficked mammal in the world. More than 1 million were poached in 10 years. Their scales are used in traditional medicine with no scientific basis. Only one female Yangtze giant softshell turtle remains. The species is functionally extinct. Assisted reproduction with the last males is being attempted. It is one of the rarest turtles. 40% of insect species are in decline. Neonicotinoid insecticides are especially harmful to bees. Habitat loss and climate change worsen the problem. Rewilding is reviving ecosystems. Reintroducing wolves to Yellowstone restored trophic cascades. Wolves controlled deer, trees grew, rivers changed course. Everything is connected. The most reactive element is francium. It is so rare that only 30 grams exist in the entire Earth's crust. It reacts explosively with water. It has a half-life of 22 minutes. The rarest natural element is astatine. Only 30 grams exist on Earth at any given time. It decays radioactively in hours. It is produced artificially for nuclear medicine. Gold is edible, pure 24-karat gold. It passes through the digestive system without being absorbed. It is used in luxury culinary decoration. Gold leaf is so thin that 1 gram covers 1 square meter. Gallium melts in your hand. Melting point 29.76 degrees Celsius. You can make gallium spoons that melt in hot tea. It is a silvery non-toxic metal used in semiconductors. Mercury is the only metal that is liquid at room temperature, except cesium almost. It is extremely toxic, especially methyl mercury. Modern thermometers no longer use it. The noble gases, helium, neon, argon, etc., almost never react chemically. They have complete electron shells. Helium never solidifies at atmospheric pressure. Neon is used in signs for its glow. Lithium is the lightest metal. It floats on water, although it reacts violently. It is crucial for batteries in electronic devices. Demand has multiplied by 40 in 20 years. Tungsten has the highest melting point of all elements, 3,422 degrees Celsius. It is used in incandescent light bulb filaments. It is very dense, 19.3 grams per cubic centimeter. Aerogel is the lightest solid in the world, 99.8% air. Nicknamed frozen smoke, it can support 4,000 times its own weight. It insulates so well that you can hold a flame beneath it without feeling heat. Fullerenes are carbon molecules shaped like a soccer ball. Discovered in 1985, they revolutionized nanotechnology. Carbon nanotubes are extremely strong cylinders. 3D printing of organs is already a reality for simple structures. Ears, skin, blood vessels, and functional bladders have been printed. Complex organs like heart or kidney are still in development. Medical nanobots could revolutionize medicine in 10 to 20 years. Microscopic robots navigate the bloodstream, destroying cancer cells, unclogging arteries, or delivering drugs. CAR-T immunotherapy reprograms your immune cells to attack cancer. T lymphocytes are extracted, genetically modified, and reintroduced. It has cured incurable leukemias. It costs $400,000. Xenotransplants, genetically modified pig organs, are in the testing phase. In 2022, a pig heart was transplanted into a human. He survived 2 months. It could solve the organ shortage. In vivo gene editing has already been tested in humans. CRISPR is injected directly to edit genes inside the body, not just in embryos. It treated hereditary blindness in 2020. Neural prosthetics allow paralyzed people to move robotic arms with their thoughts. Electrodes in the brain capture neural signals. AI translates them into movement. Some patients can feel with the prosthesis. Gene therapy can cure hereditary diseases by modifying defective DNA. Already approved for hemophilia, muscular dystrophy, and some blindnesses. The cost can exceed $1 million per treatment. Brain organoids, mini brains grown in labs, pose ethical dilemmas. They grow from stem cells. They have electrical activity similar to fetal brains. The observable universe is 93 billion light-years in diameter. But the entire universe could be infinite. We only see as far as light has had time to reach us, 13.8 billion years. The Big Bang was not an explosion in space, but an expansion of space itself. There was no center. All of space expanded simultaneously. Space was created with the Big Bang. There was no before. The cosmic microwave background radiation is the echo of the Big Bang. It is radiation from when the universe was 380,000 years old. You detect it as statics on old T-bus. 1% of the noise is from the Big Bang. Dark energy represents 68% of the universe, but we don't know what it is. It is accelerating the expansion of the universe. Discovered in 1998, it is cosmology's greatest mystery. Dark matter makes up 27% of the universe. It does not interact with light, only with gravity. It holds galaxies together. Without it, galaxies would disintegrate. We don't know what it is made of. Normal matter, atoms, is only 5% of the universe. Everything we see, stars, planets, people, is a tiny fraction. The universe is mostly invisible and unknown. The multiverse is a serious hypothesis in physics. It suggests that there are infinite universes with different physical laws. Some quantum mechanics and string theory calculations imply it. The universe could be a hologram. The holographic principle suggests that all 3D information of the universe is encoded on its 2D surface. It sounds like science fiction, but it has mathematical basis. The ultimate fate of the universe could be the Big Freeze. If dark energy continues accelerating expansion, galaxies will drift apart until everything is cold darkness at minus 273 degrees Celsius in trillions of years. Another theory is the Big Rip. The universe will tear itself apart. If dark energy intensifies, it will eventually break apart galaxies, stars, planets, atoms, and finally space-time itself. There is a river beneath the Amazon called the Hamza River that flows 4 kilometers underground. It was discovered in 2011. It is 6,000 kilometers long and flows in the same direction as the surface Amazon, but 100 times slower. Its flow is similar to that of the Amazon. The Dead Sea is dying. It loses 1 meter of depth each year. In 50 years, it could disappear completely. It has shrunk by 30% since 1960. Water extraction from the Jordan River is drying it up. The neoptide phenomenon occurs when the sun and moon are at right angles. Tides are minimal, barely 10 to 30 centimeters difference. It occurs during first and third quarters. It is the opposite of spring tides. The Saltstraumen maelstrom, Norway, is the strongest in the world. They reach 40 kilometers per hour and 10 meters in diameter. They form through narrow channels between fjords. They are predictable and attract brave tourists. Frozen methane bubbles under lakes create impressive vertical columns. In Lake Abraham, Canada, thousands are visible. Methane comes from organic decomposition. If the ice melts, the methane escapes. The largest statue in the world is the Statue of Unity in India, 182 meters. It is twice the size of the Statue of Liberty. It represents Sardar Patel. It cost $430 million. It was inaugurated in 2018. Christ the Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro was struck by lightning that knocked off its thumb. It happened in 2014. The statue is hit by lightning 3 to 5 times per year. It has lightning rods, but they don't always protect the extremities. The Cloud Gate sculpture, Chicago, weighs 100 tons and has a seamless visible surface. Nicknamed the Bean, it is made of 168 welded stainless steel plates. It took 3 years to polish to a perfect mirror finish. The Easter Island statues have bodies underground. The iconic heads are just the tip. Excavations revealed complete torsos up to 7 meters underground. It completely changes their appearance. The Hand of the Desert in Atacama, Chile, is a giant hand emerging from the sand. It measures 11 meters and was built by Mario Irarrázaval in 1992. It is 75 kilometers from any city in the world's driest desert. The 1918 Spanish flu took more people, 50 to 100 million, than World War I. It infected a third of the world's population. Healthy young people were more vulnerable than the elderly. Excessive immune response. The smallpox pandemic, eradicated in 1980, had killed 300 million people in the 20th century alone. It was public health's greatest victory. The last natural case was in Somalia in 1977. The plague of Justinian, 541 to 549, killed 25 to 50 million people. It was the first documented bubonic plague pandemic. It weakened the Byzantine Empire so much that it never recovered its power. Cholera still takes 100,000 people per year. It is preventable with clean water and sanitation. There have been 7 cholera pandemics since 1817. The bacterium Vibrio cholerae causes extreme dehydration. The HIV/AIDS pandemic is still active. 38 million people live with HIV. Sub-Saharan Africa accounts for 70% of cases. Antiretrovirals turned it from a death sentence to a manageable chronic disease. Confirmation bias makes you seek information that confirms what you already believe. We ignore contrary evidence. That is why it is so hard to change your mind. Social media amplifies this bias with algorithms. The name-letter effect. We remember words that start with the letters of our name better. We also unconsciously prefer brands, cities, or professions that share our initials. It is called implicit egotism. The paradox of choice. Too many options paralyze us and make us unhappy. A jam experiment showed that 24 options sold less than 6. Abundance creates decision anxiety. The halo effect. If someone is attractive, we assume they are also intelligent and good. It influences hiring, trials, and politics. Attractive people receive lighter sentences for the same crime. The self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe something will happen, your actions make it come true. If a teacher believes a student is brilliant, they unconsciously give them more attention, and the student improves. The spotlight effect. We think people pay more attention to us than they really do. If you wear an embarrassing shirt, you think everyone notices it. In reality, they barely register it. The bystander effect. The more people present during an emergency, the less likely anyone will help. Each person assumes someone else will do it. Responsibility is diluted. On Everest, there are over 200 bodies that serve as landmarks. Retrieving them is too dangerous and expensive. $70,000. Green Boots is a famous corpse that marks the route. It has remained frozen since 1996. Only 14 mountains exceed 8,000 meters, all in the Himalayas and Karakoram. Climbing all of them, the 8,000ers, is mountaineering's ultimate achievement. Only 44 people have done it. Nirmal Purja did it in 6 months, a record. K2 is deadlier than Everest. 1 in 4 climbers who attempt it dies. It is technically more difficult, has worse weather, and is more isolated. It is called the Savage Mountain. It has no local name, only a topographic designation. Reinhold Messner was the first to climb Everest without supplemental oxygen, 1978. He said, "I am not a Superman, just very well trained." He was also the first to climb all 14 8,000ers. He's a living mountaineering legend. Annapurna is the deadliest of the 8,000ers, a 32% mortality rate. It has constant avalanches. Of every 3 people who reach the summit, 1 dies on the way down. It is considered the most dangerous climb in the world. Mount Vesuvius is considered the most dangerous volcano in the world. 3 million people live in its risk zone, Naples. Its last eruption was in 1944. The next could be catastrophic. Nyiragongo, Congo, has a permanent lava lake in its crater. It is one of only 5 persistent lava lakes in the world. In 2002, lava reached the city of Goma, killing 250 people. Mount Merapi, Indonesia, erupts every 2 to 5 years on average. 24 million people live within a 30-kilometer radius. In 2010, it killed 353 people. It is Indonesia's most active volcano. Popocatépetl is only 70 kilometers from Mexico City, 20 million inhabitants. Its activity has increased since the 90s. A major eruption could be the worst natural disaster in modern history. Cumbre Vieja, on La Palma, Canary Islands, could cause a mega tsunami. If its western flank collapses into the sea, 500 cubic kilometers of rock, it would generate 100-meter waves that would cross the Atlantic. It is controversial among scientists. In 2023, a lost continent called Zealandia was discovered beneath New Zealand. It spans 5 million square kilometers, half of Australia. 94% is submerged. It separated from Australia 80 million years ago. Scientists created a quantum wormhole in a quantum computer, 2022. It is microscopic and informational, not physical. But it demonstrates that wormholes are theoretically possible. Liquid water was discovered on Mars in 2024, 12 kilometers underground, enough to cover Mars with 1.5 kilometers of water. It is trapped in porous rocks. It could harbor microbial life. Scientists revived 48,500-year-old viruses from permafrost in 2023. They remain infectious. Climate change is melting permafrost. It could release prehistoric pathogens to which we have no immunity. A gravitational wave background of the universe was detected in 2023. It is a constant hum from supermassive black holes merging. It opens a new window for astronomical observation. It was discovered that plants emit ultrasonic sounds when stressed. They scream from lack of water or damage, only detectable with special microphones. Other organisms might hear them. Nuclear fusion with net energy gain was achieved for the first time in 2022. The National Ignition Facility produced 3.15 megajoules using 2.05. It is historic, but commercial energy is still decades away. Life was found 5 kilometers beneath the seafloor in 2023. They are microorganisms living in oceanic crust. They survive on chemical energy, not solar. It expands the definition of a habitat for life. The city of Longyearbyen, Norway, bonds dying and being buried. It is so close to the North Pole that bodies do not decompose due to permafrost. Terminally ill patients are transported to the mainland. There is only one small cemetery from 1918. There is a border of only 85 meters between Spain and Morocco. Peñón de Vélez de la Gomera. It is the shortest land border in the world. The rock was separated, but an earthquake in 1930 created a sandy isthmus that joined it to the African continent. The town of Whittier, Alaska, has nearly all its 220 residents living in a single building. The 14-story Begich Towers contains apartments, a school, hospital, church, and post office. Tunnels connect everything because outside, it's minus 30 degrees Celsius in winter. Antarctica has an ATM operated by Wells Fargo. It is at McMurdo Station. It is the southernmost ATM in the world. It is rarely used because there are no shops, but scientists occasionally need it. There is an underground city in Australia called Coober Pedy, where 60% of the population lives underground. temperatures exceed 50 degrees Celsius. In summer, the dugout homes maintain a constant 23 degrees Celsius year-round. There are churches, hotels, and even an underground golf course. Quantum teleportation is real and has already been achieved, but only with photons. It does not move matter, but quantum information. In 2017, information was teleported between a satellite and Earth, over 1,400 kilometers. It does not violate relativity because it does not transmit information faster than light. Atoms are 99.9999999999996% empty space. If you removed all the empty space from all humans, all of humanity would fit into a sugar cube. But we would weigh the same because mass is in the atomic nuclei. Quantum entanglement allows two particles to be instantly connected, regardless of distance. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance and disliked it, but it is real and verified. If you measure one particle, you instantly affect its entangled partner on the other side of the universe. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle says you cannot simultaneously know the exact position and velocity of a particle. It is not a technological limitation. It is the fundamental nature of reality. The more precisely you know one, the less you know the other. Titanoboa lived 60 million years ago and measured 13 meters long, weighing 1,100 kilograms. It is the largest snake that ever existed. It could swallow an entire crocodile. It lived in what is now Colombia. It needed temperatures of 30 to 34 degrees Celsius to survive. The giant sloth Megatherium stood 6 meters tall, like a giraffe. It weighed 4 tons. It lived in South America until 10,000 years ago. It walked on 2 legs and could knock down trees. Humans probably contributed to its extinction. The dodo was not stupid, just too trusting. It evolved in Mauritius without predators. When humans arrived 1598, it had no fear. It went extinct in just 80 years. The last confirmed sighting was in 1662. Its name comes from the Portuguese dodo. The Greenland megatsunami in 2023 shook the Earth for 9 consecutive days. A landslide triggered by glacial melting, 25 million cubic meters of rock, equivalent to 10 pyramids of Giza, fell into the Dixon Fjord, generating a 200-meter-high wave that became trapped and bounced between the fjord walls every 90 seconds, creating a global seismic signal that scientists described as ringing the Earth like a bell. The volcano that cooled the planet in 1831 was finally identified in 2025. For nearly 200 years, scientists searched for the source of the eruption that lowered global temperatures and caused agricultural crises. Combined analysis of climate records, volcanic deposits, and historical documents pinpointed the culprit, closing a key gap in modern climate history. The Nazca Desert doubled its mysterious figures in just 6 months. In 2024, a team from Yamagata University, in collaboration with IBM, used artificial intelligence to discover 303 new geoglyphs in the Peruvian desert. The figures, which include animals, human shapes, and geometric patterns, date from 200 BC to 650 AD and reinforce the idea of a ceremonial landscape integrated with ritual pathways. Earth's water has a definitive link to comets. In 2025, a reinterpretation of data from ESA's Rosetta mission showed that the water from Comet 67P has a deuterium to hydrogen ratio, nearly identical to Earth's oceans. This confirms that Jupiter family comets actively contributed to supplying water during the planet's early millions of years. The Sahara Desert was a green savanna just 6,000 years ago. A change in Earth's orbit Milankovitch cycles altered monsoons, transforming a region of lakes, rivers, and hippos into the largest desert in the world. This Green Sahara cycle occurs approximately every 20,000 years. There is a floating forest in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. The Sargasso Sea is a region defined by ocean currents where tons of sargassum seaweed accumulate. This ecosystem forms a unique floating habitat for fish, turtles, and seabirds, and is the only sea on the planet without coastlines. The Siberian Tumat puppies were not domesticated dogs, but wild wolves. Two mummified cubs from 14,000 years ago, found with their fur and last meal intact, were believed to be primitive dogs. In 2025, a genetic and chemical study revealed they were wolves with no human contact, forcing a revision of theories about the origin of dog domestication. Antarctica hosts a hidden lake the size of a country. Lake Vostok, buried under 4 kilometers of ice, is one of the largest subglacial lakes in the world. Its waters have been isolated for millions of years, and scientists are studying whether it could host unique microbial life, with implications for the search for life on icy moons like Europa. The door to hell in Turkmenistan has been burning for over 50 years. This 70-meter-wide natural gas crater formed in 1971 when a Soviet drilling platform collapsed. Geologists set it on fire to burn off methane gas, expecting it to last weeks, but it continues to burn non-stop. Iguazu Falls once reached a flow rate 40 times higher than normal. In 2014, a flow of 46,300 cubic meters per second, compared to the usual 1,500, transformed the landscape. This extreme phenomenon occurs periodically and demonstrates the living, changing power of one of the most impressive waterfall systems in the world. It was discovered that the human body ages in 2 explosive bursts, not gradually. A 2024 study with 108 volunteers who provided biological samples over years revealed dramatic changes around ages 44 and 60. At 44, alcohol, caffeine, and fat metabolism change. At 60, immune regulation and carbohydrate metabolism shift radically. The brain of a fruit fly was fully mapped for the first time in 2024. Scientists created the most detailed connectomy ever made of an adult animal. 130,000 neurons and 50 million connections in a 3-dimensional map. This wiring diagram will help us understand how we process information, recognize faces, and convert sounds into electrical signals. Mars has an ocean of liquid water inside, but it is inaccessible. Data from NASA's InSight lander revealed enough water to form oceans at depths of 11.5 to 20 kilometers beneath the Martian crust. While not useful for future settlers, the finding is crucial for understanding the water cycle and potential habitability of the red planet. For the first time in history, global temperature exceeded 1.5 degrees Celsius for a full year. In 2024, the EU Climate Service confirmed an increase of 1.52 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. This threshold, set in the Paris Agreement, is considered critical to avoid the most damaging effects of climate change, and surpassing it for an entire year is a severe warning. The James Webb Telescope found impossibly massive galaxies in the early universe. Observations in 2024 revealed galaxies formed just 500 million years after the Big Bang that should have taken billions of years to develop, according to current models. This forces a rethink of how the first cosmic structures formed. Hidden oceans were discovered on moons in the solar system where none were expected. In 2024, astronomers found strong evidence of underground oceans on Mimas, a moon of Saturn, and Miranda, a moon of Uranus. This suggests oceans are common in the outer solar system, multiplying places to search for extraterrestrial life. AI predicted the structures of over 200 million proteins in 2024. AlphaFold, DeepMind's artificial intelligence network, achieved what would have taken humanity decades, predicting the three-dimensional shapes of nearly all known proteins. This will revolutionize drug development and understanding of diseases. The 2024 Nobel Prize in Chemistry awarded the creation of entirely new proteins using AI. David Baker built protein types that do not exist in nature, while Demis Hassabis and John Jumper developed AI models to predict protein structures, solving a 50-year-old problem. The asteroid Bennu contains the ingredients for life. NASA's OSIRIS-REx mission returned 121.6 grams of material from asteroid Bennu. Analysis revealed prebiotic molecules and compounds, suggesting the asteroid came from a geologically active world, confirming that we are made of star matter. The year 2024 was the hottest ever recorded and the first to consistently exceed climate models. Scientists expressed alarm not only at the temperatures, but because observed patterns surpassed predictions, suggesting climate feedbacks may exist that we do not yet fully understand. Pigeons and chickens have consciousness and complex inner lives. Research published in Philosophical Transactions of the Royal Society in 2025 revealed these birds process subjective experience, make conscious decisions, and can even recognize themselves, challenging the belief that only primates and mammals have consciousness. Humans share 60% of their DNA with bananas. Although it sounds strange, the shared genes are responsible for basic cellular functions like DNA replication, cell division, and energy production. It's a reminder of our universal common ancestry. A new AI called Mai detects breast cancer that doctors cannot see. Tested in British hospitals, it analyzed 10,000 mammograms and identified tumors in 11 patients that had gone unnoticed. Detecting cancer when tumors are under 15 millimeters increases 5-year survival to 90%. Babies are born with 60 more bones than adults. At birth, we have about 300 bones, many made of cartilage. As we grow, these fuse, such as those in the skull, until reaching the typical 206 in adults. Notably, babies do not have kneecaps. They form between ages 2 and 6. The human heart generates enough pressure to shoot blood 10 meters. The left ventricle pumps blood with such force that, if connected to a hose, it could reach that height. This is why a severed artery can bleed so dramatically. The femur is stronger than concrete. The thigh bone can support up to 30 times body weight. A 70-kilogram person could theoretically hang over 2 tons from their femur without it breaking. The stomach constantly digests itself, but regenerates. Stomach acid can dissolve metals, but the lining cells are replaced every 3 to 4 days. Without this process, the organ would completely digest itself. The human body produces enough saliva in a lifetime to fill 2 Olympic swimming pools. We produce between 0.5 and 1.5 liters daily, totaling around 30,000 liters in an average lifetime. Saliva is crucial for digestion and oral health. The human eye can distinguish 10 million different colors. Cones in the retina, 3 types, sensitive to red, green, and blue, combine to create this palette. Some people, tetrachromates, have a 4th type and can see up to 100 million colors. Human DNA, if stretched out, would reach the sun and back over 300 times. If you unraveled all the DNA in your cells and laid it end to end, it would span about 20 billion kilometers. The Earth-Sun distance is 150 million kilometers. The lost tomb of Pharaoh Thutmose II was found in 2025, the first since 1922. Near the Valley of the Kings, a British-Egyptian mission located the burial chamber of the pharaoh, who ruled from 1493 to 1479 BC, husband and half-brother of Hatshepsut. Walls covered in hieroglyphs and ceilings with celestial maps reveal secrets of the 18th dynasty. An Austrian mummy once thought miraculous turned out to be an 18th century aristocrat. The air-dried chaplain of a rural Austrian church sparked centuries of speculation about healing powers and poisoning. A water leak in 2025 forced its removal, and analysis identified Franz Xaver Sidler von Rosenegg, revealing an unknown embalming method. Napoleon's army was decimated by 3 diseases, not just cold and typhus. Genetic analysis of teeth from soldiers who died during the 1812 retreat from Russia detected Salmonella enterica, paratyphoid fever, and Borrelia recurrentis, relapsing fever. The combination better explains the massive death toll. The Hjort Spring boat revealed its origin thanks to a 2,000-year-old Fangir print. This wooden vessel found in a Danish bog in the 1920s was filled with weapons but lacked clues to its origin. In 2025, material analysis showed it traveled long distances, and a partial fingerprint in tar provided a direct link to a crew member. Ancient Maya likely used enemas with alcohol and hallucinogens in rituals. An Ig Nobel Prize-winning study analyzed scenes on Maya pottery depicting enema rituals. Evidence suggests alcoholic beverages were administered rectally to induce or intensify ritual intoxication, challenging the traditional, contemplative image. The oldest mummies in the world are not in Egypt or Chile. In 2025, a team from the Australian National University found human remains in Southeast Asia, mummified through smoke dehydration over 12,000 years ago. This shifts the focus of funerary history, traditionally centered on the Mediterranean and Andes. The oldest and largest Maya monument was discovered in 2025. It is a representation of the cosmos, about 3,000 years old, changing our understanding of how Maya civilization evolved from its origins to its architectural peak. A medieval ship was discovered de urban construction in Barcelona in 2025. The large-scale find reveals the city's maritime importance in the Middle Ages and sheds light on previously unknown shipbuilding techniques. The Song of Wade, a lost epic, was not about supernatural creatures. A recently deciphered error in the few surviving fragments shows earlier studies misinterpreted its content and that it was more realistic than previously believed. The pyramids of Egypt were built while mammoths still existed. The Great Pyramid of Giza was completed around 2560 before Christ. Woolly mammoths survived on Wrangel Island, Arctic Ocean, until around 2000 before Christ, meaning these animals still roamed the earth while Egyptians built their most iconic monuments. The tallest bull in the world stands at 1.94 meters and is named Romeo, rescued by a couple in Oregon. This bovine is even larger than its sire and was recognized by Guinness World Records in 2024. He loves being petted and lives peacefully away from slaughter. Octopuses have 3 hearts and blue blood. 2 hearts pump blood to the gills and the third to the rest of the body. Their blood is blue because it uses hemocyanin with copper instead of hemoglobin with iron, which is more efficient in cold, low-oxygen waters. Crows can recognize human faces and hold grudges for years. Experiments show they remember people who threatened them and pass this information to other crows. They can even distinguish between different humans based on behavior. Army ants build bridges and rafts using their own bodies. When facing obstacles, they link together to form living structures that can support the colony's weight. During floods, they become rafts that can float for weeks. A blue whale's tongue weighs as much as an adult elephant. At around 2.7 tons, This muscular organ is so large that 50 people could stand on it. The whale uses it to filter krill through its baleen. Axolotls can regenerate their brain, eyes, and heart without scarring. This critically endangered Mexican amphibian has the most astonishing regenerative ability in the animal kingdom. Scientists study its genes for applications in human regenerative medicine. The ugliest fish in the world is also one of the deepest. The blobfish, which lives over 1,000 meters deep, where pressure is 100 times greater than at the surface, has a gelatinous appearance because its body is adapted to extreme conditions. Out of water, it collapses. Bees have a sense of time and can plan ahead. Experiments show they can be trained to visit flowers at specific times, even without immediate reward, suggesting they have episodic memory, similar to humans. Dolphins have names and call each other by them. Each dolphin develops a unique whistle, its name, in early life. Other dolphins use that whistle to address it, and they respond when hearing their own name. The longest living animal is a 507-year-old clam. Discovered in Iceland in 2006, the Icelandic clam named Mink was born in 1499, when Columbus was still exploring the Americas. It died when scientists opened it to count its rings. The most remote point on Earth, Point Nemo, is 2,688 kilometers from any land. Located in the South Pacific, it is the oceanic pole of inaccessibility. It is so remote that astronauts aboard the International Space Station are the closest humans when passing overhead. The country with the most official languages is Bolivia, with 37 constitutionally recognized languages. In addition to Spanish, it includes 36 indigenous languages such as Quechua, Aymara, and Guarani. South Africa follows with 11 official languages. The city of La Rinconada, Peru, is the highest inhabited place in the world. At 5,100 meters above sea level, oxygen is so scarce that newcomers suffer severe altitude sickness. It survives on gold mining, but lacks sewage systems and potable water. The driest place on Earth, Atacama, has areas where it has never rained. The Atacama Desert in Chile receives less than 1 millimeter of rainfall annually on average. Some weather stations have never recorded precipitation. Its soil is so similar to Mars that NASA tests its rovers there. There is a boiling river in the Peruvian Amazon. The Shanai Timpishka River, meaning boiled with the heat of the sun, reaches temperatures of 86 degrees Celsius. It is not volcanic. Its heat comes from deep geothermal sources. Animals that fall in are cooked alive. The island of Socotra looks like another planet. Belonging to Yemen, it is home to 37% of its plant species, 90% of its reptiles, and 95% of its snails, found nowhere else. Its most famous tree, the dragon's blood tree, has red sap used as dye and medicine since ancient times. Lake Baikal holds 20% of the world's unfrozen freshwater. At 1,642 meters deep, it is the deepest and oldest lake, 25 million years. It hosts 1,700 species, two-thirds of them endemic, including the world's only freshwater seal. Canada has more lakes than the rest of the world combined. With approximately 2 million lakes, they cover 9% of its territory. The country contains 60% of the world's natural lakes. The Sahara Desert is as large as the United States. At 9.2 million square kilometers, it is nearly the size of the entire U.S., 9.8 million. If it were a country, it would be the 7th largest in the world. The coldest city on Earth, Yakutsk, has thermometers that break. In Yakutsk, Siberia, winter temperatures reach -50 degrees Celsius. Mercury thermometers freeze, and people wear layers of reindeer fur to survive. The fastest drone in the world reaches 480 kilometers per hour. created by Mike and Luke Bell in South Africa. The Peregrine 2 took months to design and required 2 flight runs in opposite directions to counter wind and be certified by Guinness in 2024. There is a functional replica of the iPhone 15 Pro Max, the size of a television. Aaron Miney and Matthew Perks, UK, created the largest smartphone replica in 2024. It works normally. It has a touchscreen keyboard, makes calls, video calls, plays music, and takes photos. The longest wig in the world measures 3.65 meters. Helen Williams from Nigeria designed this wig with more than 800 strands of reddish-brown hair. It took over a month to complete and cost $2,719. It is her 3rd Guinness World Record. The first computer virus, Creeper 1971, only displayed a friendly message. It said, "I'm the Creeper, catch me if you can," and spread between ARPANET computers. It was an experiment, not malicious malware. The first antivirus, Reaper, was created to remove it. The first webcam monitored the coffee pot in Cambridge. In 1991, scientists tired of walking to the coffee room and finding it empty, created a camera that streamed images in real time to the internal network. It operated until 2001. The first text message said, "Merry Christmas." It was sent by Neil Papworth on December 3, 1992, from a computer to Richard Jarvis's phone in the UK. Phones at the time did not have keyboards to reply. QR code stands for Quick Response. Invented in 1994 by Denso Wave to track Toyota parts, it allows information to be decoded up to 10 times faster than a traditional barcode. The first registered domain was symbolics.com on March 15, 1985. It belonged to Symbolics Computer Corporation and still exists as an internet museum. It was followed by cmu.edu, purdue.edu, and bbcun.com. Bluetooth technology is named after a Viking king, Harald Blutand Gormson, unified Denmark and Norway in the 10th century. The name symbolizes device unification, and the logo combines the runes of his initials, H and B. The first computer bug was literally an insect. In 1947, operators of the Harvard Mark II computer found a moth trapped in a relay, causing failures. They taped it into the logbook with the note, "First actual case of bug being found." The Mona Lisa has no eyebrows because it was fashionable to shave them during the Renaissance. Women of the Quattrocento removed their eyebrows and hairlines to create higher foreheads. It was not a mistake by Da Vinci, but a reflection of the era's aesthetics. Shakespeare invented more than 1,700 English words. Among them, eyeball, lonely, fashionable, and swagger. Many were created by combining existing Latin or Germanic words. The Scream by Munch has a phrase written in pencil by the artist himself in the upper left corner of the original painting. Munch wrote, "It could only have been painted by a madman." It is believed he wrote it after hearing criticism about his mental health. The first film in history lasts 46 seconds. Workers leaving the Lumiere factory, 1895, showed workers exiting the Lumiere Brothers factory in Lyon. Some viewers fled when they saw a train in another film, thinking it would run them over. Happy Birthday is the most recognized song in English. Originally titled Good Morning to All, it was composed by the Hill Sisters in 1893. Copyrighted generated millions until it expired in 2016. In the United States, Van Gogh sold only one painting in his lifetime, The Red Vineyard. Today his works are worth tens of millions. The Starry Night, his most famous piece, was painted from the window of a sanatorium in Saint-Rémy-de-Provence. The Louvre Pyramid does not have 666 glass panels, but 673. The urban myth of the number of the beast is false. Architect I.M. Pei chose the number for aesthetic and geometric reasons, not esoteric ones. Silent films were never truly silent. Screenings were accompanied by live music, pianists, organists, or full orchestras. In Japan, Benshi narrated films live, sometimes becoming more popular than the actors. The longest novel in history is In Search of Lost Time by Proust. With 1.2 million words and 7 volumes, it is a monumental exploration of memory and French society. It is said that Proust wrote in bed, lined with cork to block out noise. The Oscars are named after a casual nickname. Academy librarian Margaret Herrick said in 1931 that the statuette looked like my Uncle Oscar. The name stuck and was officially adopted in 1939. Honey never spoils. Archaeologists have found edible honey in 3,000-year-old Egyptian tombs. Its low water content and acidity create an environment where bacteria cannot survive. Carrots were originally purple, not orange. The Dutch cultivated the orange variety in the 17th century in honor of the House of Orange-Nassau. Purple carrots still exist and are sweeter. Cheese is the most stolen food in the world. According to Interpol, it accounts for 4% of all global food theft. Parmesan cheese is especially targeted due to its high value and easy resale. Real wasabi is extremely rare and expensive. About 99% of wasabi served in restaurants is dyed horseradish. True wasabi japonica grows in mountain streams and costs over $200 per kilogram. A pineapple takes 2 years to grow, from planting to harvesting a single fruit. It is a composite fruit made from hundreds of fused flowers. Each plant produces one pineapple and then dies. Bananas are berries. Strawberries are not. Botanically, a berry is a fleshy fruit with seeds inside. Bananas have them, though tiny, while strawberries have seeds on the outside, achenes, and are considered an aggregate fruit. Coffee is the second most traded commodity after oil. The world consumes about 2.25 billion cups daily. Finland has the highest per capita consumption, 12 kilograms per person per year. Nutmeg in large doses is hallucinogenic and toxic. It contains myristicin, which in doses of 5 to 20 grams causes hallucinations, nausea, and rapid heartbeat. In the Middle Ages, it was used as a narcotic. The pop of champagne is not just gas, but a supersonic shockwave. The cork exits at about 50 kilometers per hour, creating a shockwave that briefly exceeds the speed of sound. Gas contributes, but is not the main cause. Sugar was first discovered in New Guinea 8,000 years ago. From there it spread to India, where crystallization was invented. Crusaders brought it to Europe, where it was a spice for the wealthy. Sugarcane arrived in the Americas with Columbus. Spanish is the fastest spoken language. Studies measuring syllables per second show Spanish is the fastest, followed by Japanese and French. Mandarin and German are slower in information density per syllable. The letter E is the most common in Spanish, 13.68% of words. It is followed by A, 12.53%, and O, 8.69%. The least common is W, 0.02%. In English, E is also the most common, though with a smaller margin. The shortest alphabet has 12 letters. Rotokas, Papua New Guinea. The longest is Khmer, Cambodia, with 74 letters. Hawaiian has 13, Italian 21, Spanish 27, and English 26. The dot over the I is called a tittle. The tilde is the mark over the ñ. The accent mark is called a tilde, or orthographic accent. The circumflex is another diacritical mark. OK is likely the most understood word on the planet. Its most accepted origin is a humorous abbreviation of all correct, intentionally misspelled all correct in Boston in 1839. It has also been linked to okay and the Choctaw word okay. South Africa's national anthem has verses in 5 languages. It is the only multilingual anthem in the world: Xhosa, Zulu, Sesotho, Afrikaans, and English. It reflects the country's cultural diversity after apartheid. Esperanto, the most successful artificial language, has native speakers. Although created in 1887, some people learned it at home and speak it as their first language, around 1,000 to 2,000 people. There are an estimated 100,000 to 2 million total speakers. In the Philippines, Spanish was an official language until 1973. Today, Chavacano, a Spanish-based Creole, has around 700,000 speakers in Zamboanga and Cavite. It preserves vocabulary from 17th century Spanish with Austronesian grammar. The longest word in Spanish has 23 letters. Electroencephalografista, a specialist in electroencephalography. However, medicine has even longer terms not included. The Cyrillic alphabet was created by Cyril and Methodius in the 9th century. The missionary brothers created the Glagolitic script to translate the Bible for the Slavs. Their disciples later developed Cyrillic, based on Greek, which is still used today in Russian, Bulgarian, and Serbian. The first text message in history was sent on December 3, 1992, by engineer Neil Papworth. It said "Merry Christmas" and was sent from a computer to the mobile phone of Richard Jarvis of Vodafone. It is estimated that more than 80% of the photographs taken in 2023 were captured with smartphones. The democratization of digital photography and the quality of mobile sensors have completely transformed how we document our lives. The world's first webcam was created in 1991 at the University of Cambridge to monitor a coffee pot. Researchers, tired of walking to the coffee room only to find it empty, created a system that transmitted real-time images over the internal network. QR stands for Quick Response. It was invented in 1994 by the Japanese company Denso Wave to track automobile parts in manufacturing. Its design allows fast decoding, even if it is partially damaged. The Facebook Like button was originally planned as an awesome button. After considering options like cool, the team chose Like for its simplicity and neutrality. The first domain name ever registered on the internet was symbolics.com on March 15, 1985. It belonged to Symbolics, a computer manufacturer. The site is still active today as an Internet History Museum. The first digital emoticon, or smiley, was used on September 19, 1982. Scientist Scott Fahlman proposed using Rewire and, in a forum at Carnegie Mellon University, to distinguish serious messages from jokes in plain text. The spacebar is the most frequently used key on any keyboard. It is estimated to account for nearly 20% of all keystrokes in a typical text, making it essential for readability. The famous key combination Ctrl plus Alt plus Delete was created by David Bradley, an engineer at IBM. It was originally a backdoor to reboot the system during development. Bill Gates later joked that making it so famous was a mistake. The Sony Walkman TP-SL2, released in 1979 by Sony, revolutionized the way people listen to music. For the first time, it allowed individuals to carry high-quality personalized music anywhere, creating the culture of the personal soundtrack. In the upper left corner of the famous painting The Scream, written in pencil, there is a phrase, "It could only have been painted by a madman." It is believed that Edvard Munch wrote it after hearing derogatory comments about his mental health. The statues and temples of ancient Greece and Rome were not white as we see them today. They were painted with bright and vibrant colors, such as blue, red, and gold. Over time, the paint wore away, leaving only the underlying stone or marble. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart composed his first symphony at the age of 8. His prodigious career began even earlier. By age 5, he was composing small pieces, and by 6, he was touring European royal courts. The famous anti-war painting Guernica by Pablo Picasso did not return to Spain until 1981. Painted in 1937, it was kept at the Museum of Modern Art in New York, at Picasso's request, until democracy was restored in Spain. The longest novel ever written is In Search of Lost Time by Marcel Proust. It consists of 7 volumes and about 1.2 million words, exploring memory and French society. The song Vincent, Starry Starry Night by Don McLean is dedicated to Vincent van Gogh. The lyrics describe the life and work of the painter and reference paintings such as The Starry Night. The silent film era was never truly silent. Screenings were usually accompanied by live music, ranging from a single pianist to full orchestras that provided emotional atmosphere. Each Academy Award statue weighs about 3.8 kilograms and is plated in 24-karat gold. It is made of solid bronze, and the nickname Oscar became popular in the 1930s. William Shakespeare spelled his name in at least 6 different ways in surviving documents. Spelling was not standardized in Elizabethan England. The first permanent photograph in history is View from the Window at Le Gras, taken by Nicephore Niepce in 1826. It required an exposure time of about 8 hours. Modern ketchup descends from a fermented fish sauce called ketchup from 17th century China. The British adapted it, and in the 19th century, tomatoes were added as the main ingredient in the United States. The most expensive sandwich in the world costs about 28,000 pounds, around $35,000. It is served at the restaurant of Salt Bay in London and includes Wagyu beef, foie gras, black truffle, edible 24-karat gold, and special dressing. Saffron, the most expensive spice in the world, is more expensive than gold by weight. Around 150,000 flowers of the Crocus sativus plant are needed to produce just 1 kilogram of saffron. Pizza Margherita was named after Queen Margherita of Savoy. In 1889, pizzaiolo Raffaele Esposito created a pizza representing the colors of the Italian flag: tomato, red, mozzarella, white, and basil, green. The world's most expensive coffee, Kopi Luwak, is produced using beans that have been eaten and excreted by the Asian palm civet. Digestive enzymes alter the flavor of the beans, reducing bitterness. Spaghetti were not introduced to Italy by Marco Polo from China. Historical evidence shows that dried pasta was already eaten in Sicily in the 12th century. Pisco is a grape brandy whose origin is disputed between Peru and Chile. Each country has its own designation of origin and production methods. The Aztecs used cocoa beans as currency. A rabbit cost about 10 beans, and a slave could cost around 100. The Granny Smith apple was discovered accidentally by Maria Ann Smith in Australia in 1868, when a wild apple tree grew in her compost pile. Rice is the staple food for more than half of the world's population, providing over 20% of the calories consumed globally. Spanish is one of the official languages of Vatican City, along with Latin, used in documents and ceremonies. The modern Hawaiian alphabet, Olelo Hawaii, has only 13 letters, 5 vowels, A, E, I, O, U, and 8 consonants, Eto, K, L, M, N, P, W, T. The word biblioteca is considered a palindrome in Spanish when ignoring spaces meaning it can be read the same forward and backward in certain structural interpretations. The letter Niño is a genuine invention of the Spanish language, emerging in the Middle Ages as an abbreviation for a double N. Esperanto has no irregular verbs. Its creator, L.L. Zamenhof, designed it to be logical and easy to learn. In Iceland, traditional family surnames do not exist. Instead, patronymic or matronymic systems are used. Old English, Anglo-Saxon, had grammatical genders similar to German or Spanish, but the system largely disappeared by the 12th century. The word karaoke comes from Japanese and means empty orchestra. The opening question and exclamation marks are unique to Spanish and were promoted by the Real Academia Española in the 18th century. Pneumon ultra microscopics, silicovolcan oconiosis, is considered the longest word in the English language, with 45 letters. In baseball, a perfect home run is one where the ball leaves the field of play without touching the ground. The oldest cricket club in the world was the Hambledon Club of England, active between 1760 and 1796. Rugby was supposedly born in 1823 at Rugby School, when student William Webb Ellis picked up the ball during a football match and ran with it. The NBA All-Star Game 2017 ended with a record score of 192 to 182 in favor of the Western Conference. The oldest footballer to play in a World Cup match was Assam El Hadari, aged 45 years and 161 days during the 2018 FIFA World Cup. The Super Bowl is the most watched annual sporting event in the United States, often attracting more than 100 million viewers. The longest tennis match in history was played between John Isner and Nicolas Mahut at the Wimbledon Championships 2010 and lasted 11 hours and 5 minutes. Surfing was a royal and spiritual sport in ancient Hawaii, reserved for chiefs. Hybrid Formula One engines are among the most efficient internal combustion engines ever built, exceeding 50% thermal efficiency. In 2022, American skater Ilya Malinin landed the first quadruple axel jump in competition, a rotation of 4.5 turns in the air. The United States holds the largest official gold reserves in the world, more than 8,000 tons. But when measured per capita, Switzerland leads the list, with about 130 grams of gold for every Swiss citizen. The world's first ATM was installed at a Barclays Bank branch in Enfield, London, on June 27, 1967. It was invented by John Shepard Barron, and the first person to use it was actor Reg Varney. The Big Mac Index, created by The Economist in 1986, is a light-hearted tool used to compare purchasing power between countries. It compares the price of a Big Mac burger in different currencies to measure whether currencies are undervalued or overvalued. Euro coins of 1 and 2 cents cost more to produce than their face value. The cost of copper and zinc exceeds the value of the coin. Several Eurozone countries have eliminated their use in cash payments, rounding transactions to the nearest 5 cents. The oldest bank in the world still in operation is Monte dei Paschi di Siena, in Italy, founded in 1472. It began as a charitable lending institution and still operates from its original palace headquarters in Siena. Warren Buffett, one of the richest investors in the world, still lives in the same house he bought in Omaha, Nebraska, in 1958 for $31,500. It reflects his philosophy of frugality and lack of interest in extravagant consumption, despite his immense wealth. The Lego Group is the largest tire manufacturer in the world. In miniature, it produces more than 500 million small plastic wheels every year for its building sets, surpassing any real tire manufacturer in number of units. Euro banknotes contain the signature of the President of the European Central Bank at the time they are issued. It serves as a symbol of authenticity. Each new series carries the signature of the current president, such as Christine Lagarde or her predecessor, Mario Draghi. The Amsterdam Stock Exchange, founded in 1602 by the Dutch East India Company, is considered the oldest stock exchange in the world. It was the first to continuously trade shares and issue bonds to the public. Approximately 60% of global foreign exchange reserves and nearly half of international trade are denominated in US dollars. This gives the United States a unique financial advantage, often referred to as the exorbitant privilege. The halo effect is a cognitive bias in which our overall positive impression of a person, due to attractiveness, status, or friendliness, influences how we judge their other traits, such as intelligence or honesty, even when they are unrelated. Inattentional blindness is the phenomenon that causes people to fail to notice a fully visible object because their attention is focused on something else. The famous invisible gorilla experiment demonstrated this when participants counting basketball passes failed to see a man in a gorilla suit walk through the scene. The human brain is wired to process and remember information better when it is presented as a story. Narratives activate multiple brain regions, including emotional and sensory areas, creating a mental transport that makes messages more memorable and persuasive. The paradox of choice, described by Barry Schwartz, suggests that having too many options can create anxiety, paralysis, and dissatisfaction. After making a decision, people are more likely to regret or doubt their choice, wondering if a better option existed. The Dunning-Kruger effect is a cognitive bias in which people with low ability in a particular area tend to greatly overestimate their competence. Meanwhile, experts often underestimate their abilities, assuming tasks that are easy for them are easy for others as well. Listening to music at very high volume in bars or restaurants can make customers drink faster and consume more alcohol. Loud sound increases excitement and makes conversation difficult, leading people to focus more on drinking. The color red can influence physical performance and perception. In combat sports, competitors wearing red uniforms have a slight statistical advantage. Red is also associated with increased perceived attractiveness and can heighten physiological arousal. Groupthink is a psychological phenomenon that occurs in highly cohesive groups, where the desire for harmony or conformity overrides realistic evaluation of alternatives, often leading to irrational or dysfunctional decisions. Contagious yawning is strongly linked to empathy and social closeness. You are more likely to catch a yawn from a family member or friend than from a stranger. It is believed to be a primitive form of social synchronization and nonverbal communication. Chronic procrastination is more closely related to emotional management than time management. People delay tasks that cause anxiety, boredom, or insecurity in order to gain immediate emotional relief, even though it increases stress later. The book Gatsby, by Ernest Vincent Wright, published in 1939, is a novel of more than 50,000 words that never uses the letter E. It is an extreme example of a lipogram, a work written while deliberately omitting one or more letters. The Simpsons casually predicted the presidency of Donald Trump. In a 2000 episode called Bart to the Future, Lisa Simpson becomes president and mentions inheriting a budget crisis from President Trump. It is often cited as an example of coincidence or sharp satire. The first emoticon ever used in a digital message was proposed by Scott Fahlman on September 19, 1982, for jokes and for serious statements. This simple idea sparked an entire culture of emotional communication online. The top hat, a symbol of Victorian elegance, was initially a commercial failure. Its inventor, John Hetherington, was reportedly arrested for causing public disturbance when he wore it in London in 1797 because its unusual height frightened people. The oldest known song with complete musical notation is the Seikilos Epitaph, a Greek song engraved on a marble column in Turkey around the 1st century OID. It includes both the melody and the lyrics. A standard pencil contains enough graphite to draw a continuous line about 56 kilometers long, or write roughly 45,000 words. The hardness of the pencil affects this length. Around 90% of the human population lives in the northern hemisphere. This is because most of the Earth's landmass and the most habitable regions are located north of the equator. The most precise atomic clock in the world, based on strontium atoms trapped in an optical lattice, is so accurate that it would lose only about 1 second every 15 billion years, longer than the current age of the universe. The first photographic selfie in history was taken by Robert Cornelius in 1839. Using the daguerreotype process, he removed the lens cap, sat in front of the camera for more than a minute, and then replaced it, creating a self-portrait. Absolute silence does not exist on Earth, not even in the most advanced anechoic chambers. In these rooms designed to absorb all sound, you can still hear your heartbeat, blood circulation, and the buzzing of your nervous system. The largest living organism on Earth, by area, is a fungus called Armillaria ostoyi in the Malheur National Forest in Oregon. It covers about 9.6 square kilometers, weighs roughly 35,000 tons, and is around 2,400 years old. Fingernails on the dominant hand grow slightly faster than those on the non-dominant hand. Scientists believe that increased use and improved circulation in the dominant hand stimulates nail growth. The heart of a blue whale, the largest animal ever known to exist, is about the size of a small car and weighs roughly 180 kilograms. Its heartbeat can be heard more than 3 kilometers away and pumps about 220 liters of blood per beat. Ancient Romans and Egyptians used honey to treat wounds and prevent infections long before antibiotics were discovered. Honey draws moisture away from bacteria, has a low pH, and contains hydrogen peroxide and antibacterial compounds. The national anthem of Greece, Hymn to Liberty, has 158 verses, making it the longest national anthem in the world. However, only the first 2 verses are typically performed during official ceremonies. The first video ever uploaded to YouTube was Me at the Zoo, posted by co-founder Jawed Karim on April the 23rd, 2005. The 19-second clip shows him at the San Diego Zoo talking about elephants. Domestic cats cannot taste sweetness. They have a genetic mutation in their taste receptors that makes them insensitive to sugars, likely because their evolutionary diet was strictly carnivorous. In Japan, many books, novels, and manga are read from right to left, and the pages are turned in the opposite direction compared to Western books. This follows the traditional vertical writing system that flows from right to left. The northernmost point of Brazil is actually closer to Canada than to Brazil's southernmost point. This highlights the immense size of the country. The new car smell is actually caused by volatile organic compounds released from plastics, adhesives, and fabrics inside the vehicle. Although pleasant to many people, it indicates indoor air pollution. Zebras have black stripes on a white background, not the other way around. During embryonic development, black pigment forms on skin that is naturally white. The first television advertisement in history aired in the United States on July 1, 1941. before a baseball game between the Brooklyn Dodgers and the Philadelphia Phillies. It promoted Bulova watches and cost $9 for 10 seconds. The songs of humpback whales can travel underwater for up to 10,000 kilometers. These complex sound patterns may last for hours and are believed to be used for communication and possibly mating. The curved S in the UPS logo hides a subtle meaning. It represents a wrapped package tied with a bow, referencing the company's origins in package delivery. The color orange was named after the fruit, not the other way around. Before the 16th century, the color was often described as yellow-red. February 29th does not exist in years that end in 00, unless they are divisible by 400. This rule corrects the Gregorian calendar because a solar year is not exactly 365.25 days, but about 365.2422 days. The island of Tristan da Cunha in the South Atlantic is the most remote inhabited place on Earth. Its population of about 250 people lives more than 2,400 kilometers from the nearest inhabited island. White noise is not actually white. It is a mixture of all audible frequencies at equal intensity, similar to how white light contains all visible colors. The first product ever scanned with a UPC barcode was a pack of Wrigley's Juicy Fruit chewing gum. It happened on June 26, 1974, in a Marsh supermarket in Troy, Ohio. The term OKO became popular during the 1840 presidential campaign of Martin Van Buren. His supporters formed the OK Club, referring to Old Kinderhook, Van Buren's nickname based on his hometown in New York. The largest salt desert in the world is the Salar de Uyuni in Bolivia. When covered by a thin layer of water, it becomes the largest natural mirror on Earth, reflecting the sky with stunning precision. The Pondo tree in Utah, United States, is actually an entire forest, made up of a single organism. It is a clonal colony of quaking aspens, connected by one massive root system. It is estimated to weigh around 6,000 tons and be more than 80,000 years old. The Catatumbo lightning in Venezuela is a unique meteorological phenomenon. It occurs up to 260 nights per year, with as many as 280 lightning strikes per hour for up to 10 hours. It is believed to be the largest single generator of tropospheric ozone on Earth. The longest underground river in the world is located in the Yucatan Peninsula in New Mexico. The Sac Actun system stretches over 350 kilometers of flooded caves, forming a labyrinth of crystal-clear freshwater that contains fossils and unique ecosystems. The Door to Hell is a natural gas crater in Darvaza, Turkmenistan, that has been burning continuously since 1971. It was created when a Soviet drilling platform collapsed, and geologists ignited the gas to burn off methane, thinking it would last only a few weeks. The Great Blue Hole of Belize is a perfectly circular marine sinkhole, about 300 meters wide and 125 meters deep. It formed during the Ice Age when sea levels were lower, and today it attracts divers exploring its underwater stalactites. The soil of the Daintree rainforest in Australia is so ancient that it dates back to the time of the dinosaurs. This rainforest, more than 180 million years old, is considered the oldest tropical rainforest on Earth and contains species found nowhere else. The tallest mountain in the solar system is not on Earth, but on Mars. Olympus Mons is a massive shield volcano about 22 kilometers high, nearly 3 times the height of Mount Everest, and about 600 kilometers in diameter. There is a lake in Tanzania called Lake Natron with a pH so high, between 9 and 10.5, that it can burn the skin and eyes of animals not adapted to it. Its waters, rich in sodium carbonate, can preserve birds that fall into it, turning them into stone-like figures. The Gulf Stream is a powerful warm ocean current that keeps the climate of Western Europe much milder than its latitude would normally allow. Without it, cities like London or Paris would have winters similar to those in Canada. Koala fingerprints are almost indistinguishable from human fingerprints under an electron microscope. They are so similar that they could potentially confuse investigators at a crime scene. The rarest naturally occurring element on Earth that is not radioactive is astatina. Scientists estimate that at any given time, there are less than 30 grams of natural astatine in the entire Earth's crust. The Fermi paradox asks a famous question. If the universe is so vast and old, where are all the extraterrestrial civilizations? Proposed by physicist Enrico Fermi, it suggests that intelligent life might be extremely rare, or that civilizations eventually destroy themselves. The vacuum of space is not completely empty. On average, it contains about 1 hydrogen atom per cubic centimeter, along with a constant background of virtual particles appearing and disappearing. Jupiter and Saturn may experience diamond rain in their atmospheres. Extreme pressure and temperature compress carbon from methane storms into graphite and eventually into solid diamonds that fall toward the planet's cores. Your body emits a very faint visible light known as human bioluminescence. It is produced by biochemical reactions that generate photons, but it is about 1,000 times weaker than what the human eye can detect. The deepest sound in the universe comes from supermassive black holes, producing gravitational waves with frequencies millions of times lower than what the human ear can hear. Water memory is a debunked pseudoscientific hypothesis claiming that water can retain a memory of substances once dissolved in it, even after extreme dilution. It is the unproven basis of homeopathy. Snowflakes always have 6 sides because of the hexagonal structure of ice crystals. The incredible variety of shapes depends on temperature and humidity during their formation. The anthropic principle suggests that the fundamental laws of the universe appear finely tuned to allow life to exist. If certain constants were even slightly different, stars, planets, and life might never have formed. Babies do not produce visible tears when they cough until about 1 month of age because their tear ducts are not fully developed yet. Your nose and ears continue to grow throughout your life. This happens because the cartilage they are made of keeps changing and expanding over time. The sense of smell is the only sense directly connected to the limbic system, the part of the brain responsible for emotions and memory. That is why certain smells can instantly trigger powerful memories. Goosebumps are a vestigial reflex from our ancestors who had much more body hair. The tiny muscles at the base of each hair contract, making the hair stand up to trap heat, or make animals appear larger to predators. The liver is the only internal organ capable of fully regenerating itself. Even if up to 75% of it is removed, it can regrow to its original size and function within weeks. The body's second heart is not an organ, but the calf muscles. When you walk, these muscles compress veins and push blood back toward the heart against gravity. Humans share about 50% of their DNA with bananas. This does not mean we are half banana. It simply reflects that many basic cellular functions use similar genes. Tennis elbow is not actually inflammation, but degeneration of a tendon caused by repetitive microtears, where the forearm muscles attach to the elbow. The appendix, long considered a useless organ, may actually serve as a reservoir for beneficial gut bacteria that can help repopulate the intestines after illness. Not everyone experiences an inner voice in their mind. A condition called anendophasia describes the absence of internal narration, where people think more in images or concepts than in words. The Nazca lines in Peru are massive geoglyphs in the desert that can only be fully appreciated from the air. Created between 500 before Christ and 500 AD, their purpose remains a mystery. The Spanish Armada of 1588 was not mainly defeated by the English Navy, but by powerful storms in the North Atlantic that destroyed many ships during their retreat. The Code of Hammurabi, created around 1754 before Christ, included the famous eye for an eye law, although it applied differently depending on social class. The California Gold Rush began in 1848 when James W. Marshall found gold at Sutter's Mill, but both Marshall and John Sutter eventually died in poverty. The Pig War of 1859 between the United States and Great Britain started when an American farmer shot a pig owned by the Hudson's Bay Company. The conflict ended peacefully. Saigo Takamori, often called the Last Samurai, led a rebellion against Japan's Meiji government in 1877 and later became a legendary historical figure. The Zimmermann Telegram of 1917 was a secret German message proposing that Mexico join World War I against the United States in exchange for recovering lost territories. The space race had an unexpected precursor: the Nazi rocket program. Scientists like Werner von Braun developed the V-2 rocket, the first human-made object to reach space. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 happened partly due to a communication mistake when an East German official accidentally announced that travel restrictions were lifted immediately. The first website ever created by Tim Berners-Lee at CERN is still online today. It explains the World Wide Web project and is considered the beginning of the modern internet. Lobsters do not age biologically in the same way humans do. They show very little sign of aging and can keep growing and reproducing if they avoid disease or predators. The superb lyrebird can mimic almost any sound it hears, including chainsaws, camera shutters, and car alarms. Narwhals use their long tusk, which is actually a tooth, as a sensory organ, capable of detecting changes in water pressure, temperature, and salinity. Termites build massive mounds that function like natural air conditioning systems. Their tunnels regulate airflow and maintain stable temperature and humidity inside. The pufferfish creates complex geometric patterns on the ocean floor as part of its courtship ritual. The male spends days designing circular patterns to attract a female. Army ants do not build permanent nests. Instead, they form living structures called bivouacs, made from their own bodies to protect the queen and larvae. Komodo dragons kill prey, not only with bacteria in their bite, but also with venom that prevents blood clotting and induces shock. Male emperor penguins incubate a single egg for 2 months during the Antarctic winter without eating, enduring temperatures as low as -60 degrees Celsius. The Pompeii worm lives near hydrothermal vents on the ocean floor and can tolerate temperatures up to about 80 degrees Celsius, making it one of the most heat-tolerant animals known. Goats can develop regional accents in their bleats. Different herds produce slightly different sounds that are learned within the group, similar to human dialects. The deepest point in the ocean is the Mariana Trench, at 11 kilometers deep. If you placed Mount Everest there, its summit would be more than 2 kilometers underwater. The Amazon releases 20% of Earth's oxygen, but most of it is consumed by its own rainforest. It is an almost closed ecosystem. Tardigrades can survive in outer space, resisting extreme radiation and the vacuum, thanks to a dehydrated state called cryptobiosis. The oldest tree in the world is Methuselah, a bristlecone pine, about 4,850 years old, in California. It was already ancient when the pyramids of Egypt were built. 99% of the habitable space on Earth is ocean, making it the largest biome on the planet, even though we have explored only about 5% of it. Antarctica is a desert, the largest in the world. It receives less than 50 millimeters of precipitation per year, almost all of it as snow. Lake Baikal contains 20% of the world's unfrozen fresh water. It is the deepest and oldest lake. The Great Barrier Reef is the largest living structure on the planet, visible from space. It is made up of billions of organisms called coral polyps. There are more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way, about 3 trillion trees compared to 100 to 400 billion stars. The driest place on Earth is the Atacama Desert, where some weather stations have never recorded rain. Its soil is so similar to Mars that NASA tests its rovers there. The observable universe is about 93 billion light-years in diameter, but only 13.8 billion years old. This is because space itself is expanding. A teaspoon of neutron star material would weigh around 10 million tons due to the incredible density of collapsed matter. About 95% of the universe is dark, 27% dark matter, and 68% dark energy. We only see and understand the remaining 5%. Venus, not Mercury, is the hottest planet in the solar system, 462 degrees Celsius, due to its runaway greenhouse effect caused by a CO2 atmosphere. Footprints on the moon will last millions of years because there is no wind or water to erode them, only a slow bombardment of micrometeorites. Jupiter acts as a cosmic shield for Earth, using its gravity to attract comets and asteroids that might otherwise hit us. The Sun makes up 99.86% of the mass of the entire solar system. All planets, moons, and asteroids together account for only the remaining 0.14%. The speed of light, it is the maximum speed at which any information can travel in the universe. If two pieces of the same metal touch in the vacuum of space, they will permanently fuse, cold welding, because there is no oxide layer separating them. The smell of space, described by astronauts, is a sweet metallic aroma, likely caused by high-energy particles interacting with their suits. The DNA of all humans is 99.9% identical. The differences that make us unique lie in just the remaining 0.1%. Your body produces 25 million new cells every second. In that same time, millions of others die and are replaced. Stomach acid is so corrosive, it could dissolve a razor blade. The stomach lining renews itself every few days to protect against damage. The strongest bone in the body is the femur, capable of supporting up to 30 times a person's weight. It is stronger than concrete of the same weight. The human eye can distinguish up to 10 million different colors, thanks to 3 types of cones, sensitive to red, green, and blue. Your heart beats more than 100,000 times a day, pumping about 7,500 liters of blood through roughly 100,000 kilometers of blood vessels. If stretched out, the total length of your DNA in all your cells would reach the sun and back several times. Babies are born with 300 bones, but adults have 206. Many bones fuse during growth, such as those in the skull. The strongest muscle relative to its size is the masseter, located in the jaw. It allows you to exert tremendous pressure when biting. You have a second brain. The enteric nervous system in your intestines contains about 100 million neurons, regulating digestion autonomously. Cleopatra lived closer in time to the moon landing in 1969 than to the construction of the Great Pyramids of Giza in 2560 before Christ. The University of Al-Qarawiyyin is the oldest continuously operating educational institution in the world, founded in 859 by a woman, Fatima el-Fihri. The first wheels were not used for transport, but as pottery wheels in Mesopotamia, around 3500 before Christ. The shortest war in history was between Great Britain and Zanzibar in 1896. It lasted between 38 and 45 minutes. The Mongol Empire was the largest contiguous empire in history, stretching from the Pacific to Eastern Europe in the 13th century. The plague of Justinian may have killed up to 10% of the world's population at the time, altering the course of the Byzantine Empire. The Vikings reached North America around 1000, nearly 500 years before Columbus, establishing a settlement at L'Anse aux Meadows. The telephone, the light bulb, and the phonograph were not invented in the same year, but all emerged during a period of intense creativity, thanks to figures like Alexander Graham Bell and Thomas Edison. The Spanish flu of 1918 did not originate in Spain. The country, neutral in World War I, allowed free reporting on the pandemic, which led to the association with its name. The last known case of smallpox was in 1978. It is the only human disease completely eradicated through vaccination. Octopuses have 3 hearts. 2 pump blood to the gills and 1 to the rest of the body. Their blood is blue because of hemocyanin, which contains copper. Ants do not sleep, but they have rest cycles of about 8 minutes, during which they reduce activity. They also have no eyelids. The hummingbird is the only bird that can fly backward and hover in mid-air, thanks to a figure-8 wing motion. The giant squid has the largest eye in the animal kingdom, measuring up to 27 centimeters in diameter, about the size of a basketball, allowing it to detect light in the deep ocean. Turritopsis dohrnii jellyfish are biologically immortal. They can revert their life cycle back to their juvenile polyp stage after reaching sexual maturity. Elephants perform mourning rituals for their dead, gently touching bones with their trunks and remaining silent near the body for days. Dung beetles use the Milky Way to navigate, making them one of the few known animals that use celestial navigation. The water bear, tardigrade, can withstand pressures 6 times greater than those in the deepest ocean trench and survive temperatures ranging from -272 degrees Celsius to 150 degrees Celsius. Sea otters hold hands while sleeping, so they do not drift apart. They also use stones as tools to crack open shellfish. The bare-necked umbrella bird performs a striking mating ritual by inflating a bright red throat sac and producing a drum-like sound. Kiribati is the only country located in all 4 hemispheres, northern, southern, eastern, and western, due to its scattered Pacific islands. The most visited monument in the world is not the Eiffel Tower, but the Great Wall of China, with about 10 million visitors per year. Canada has more lakes than the rest of the world combined, about 2 million lakes, covering 9% of its territory. The largest island within a lake, Manitoulin Island in Lake Huron, contains a lake, Lake Manitou, which itself has islands. Russia spans 11 time zones, the most of any country. When it is 9 a.m. in Kaliningrad, it is 7 p.m. in Kamchatka. Vatican City is the smallest country in the world and has the highest per capita crime rate, although most offenses are minor tourist-related thefts. Australia is wider than the moon. The moon's diameter is about 3,400 kilometers, while Australia stretches nearly 4,000 kilometers across. Philippines is the only country where divorce is illegal. Annulment is a long and costly process. The international date line is not straight. It zigzags to avoid dividing countries or regions, such as the Aleutian Islands or Kiribati. The closest point between Africa and Europe is the Strait of Gibraltar, with only 14 kilometers separating Spain and Morocco. The first message sent over the internet in 1969 was "Hello." They attempted to type "login," but the system crashed after the first two letters. The code used for the Wright brothers' first flight was shorter than the code behind a modern Facebook like button. The first digital camera was invented by Kodak in 1975. It weighed 3.6 kilograms, stored photos on a cassette tape, and had 0.01 megapixels. The @ symbol is over 500 years old. It was used as an abbreviation for amphora, a unit of measurement, before becoming central to email. The first computer virus was called Creeper in 1971 and displayed the message, "I'm the Creeper, catch me if you can," on screen. The GPS we use requires corrections based on theory of relativity. Because satellites move fast and experience weaker gravity, their clocks run slightly faster. About 90% of the world's data has been generated in just the past 2 years, showing the exponential explosion of digital information. The first mobile phone, Motorola Dynatax 8006, cost $3,995, offered 30 minutes of talk time after 10 hours of charging, and was used only for calls. Touchscreen technology was invented in the 1960s, but did not become mainstream until the launch of the iPhone in 2007. The www in web addresses is not necessary to type. Browsers add it automatically. Its inventor, Tim Berners-Lee, has said he regrets adding the // The Mona Lisa has no eyebrows because it was fashionable in Renaissance Florence to shave them. It was not a mistake by Leonardo da Vinci. William Shakespeare invented more than 1,700 English words, including eyeball, lonely, and fashionable. The Dutch national anthem, Wilhelmus, is the oldest, written between 1568 and 1572. Spain's anthem, Marcha Real, is one of the oldest without official lyrics. The color brown did not exist as a defined concept in many ancient cultures. Homer described the sea as wine dark in the Odyssey. The first film in history, workers leaving the Lumiere factory, lasted 46 seconds. Some viewers reportedly fled, thinking the train would burst out of the screen. Music can change the taste of food. Studies show high-pitched sounds enhance sweetness, while low tones enhance bitterness. Happy Birthday is the most recognized song in English. Its copyright generated millions until it expired in 2016 in the United States. Vincent van Gogh sold only one painting during his lifetime, The Red Vineyard. His most famous work, The Starry Night, was painted from the window of a sanatorium. The Louvre Pyramid is often said to have exactly 666 glass panels, but that is an urban myth. It actually has 673. The Mexican hat dance, Jarabe Tapatio, was once banned for being considered immoral and a challenge to colonial authority. Honey never spoils. Archaeologists have found edible honey in Egyptian tombs over 3,000 years old. Carrots were originally purple, not orange. The Dutch cultivated the orange variety in the 16th century in honor of the House of Orange. Cheese is the most stolen food in the world. According to Interpol and insurance companies, it accounts for 4% of all global food theft. Nutmeg in large doses is hallucinogenic and toxic. In the Middle Ages, it was used as medicine and as a narcotic. A pineapple takes about 2 years to grow from planting to harvesting a single fruit. It is a composite fruit formed from hundreds of fused flowers. Real wasabi, Wasabia japonica, is extremely rare and expensive. Most wasabi served is actually horseradish, mustard, and green coloring. Bananas are berries according to the botanical definition, a fleshy fruit with seeds inside. Strawberries, however, are not berries. They are aggregate fruits. Coffee is the second most traded commodity in the world after oil. Finland is the country with the highest per capita coffee consumption. Sugar was first discovered in New Guinea about 8,000 years ago But large-scale cultivation began in India, where sugar crystals were invented. The pop of champagne is not caused by the gas itself, but by the supersonic shockwave created as the cork exits at over 50 kilometers per hour. English is not the language with the most native speakers. That is, Mandarin Chinese. English leads in total speakers, native plus second language. Letter E is the most common letter in Spanish and many other languages, appearing in about 13.68% of words. The least common is the letter W. The shortest alphabet belongs to the Rotokas language, Papua New Guinea, with 12 letters. The longest is Khmer, Cambodia, with 74. The dot over the I is called a tittle in typography. Is probably the most understood word on the planet. Its most accepted origin is a newspaper joke from 1839, abbreviating a misspelling of all correct as all correct. Spanish is one of the fastest spoken languages in terms of syllables per second, although Japanese conveys information at a similar rate. In Philippines, Spanish was an official language until 1973. Today, Chavacano, a Spanish-based Creole, has hundreds of thousands of speakers. The national anthem of South Africa is the only one with verses in 5 different languages: Xhosa, Zulu, Sesotho, Afrikaans, and English. Esperanto, an artificial language created to be universal, has between 100,000 and 2 million speakers, including some native speakers raised with it at home. The longest word in Spanish, officially accepted by the RAE, is electroencephalografista, with 23 letters. Soccer is the most popular sport in the world, with around 4 billion followers. FIFA has more member countries than the United Nations. Golf was banned in Scotland in 1457 because it distracted men from practicing archery, which was crucial for defending the kingdom. The world record for static apnea, holding one's breath underwater, exceeds 11 minutes. Humans possess the mammalian diving reflex. Professional ice hockey allows player substitutions on the fly without stopping play, making it one of the most dynamic sports. The ancient Olympic Games were held completely nude. The word gymnasium comes from the Greek gymnos. Sumo has no weight categories, so a wrestler can face another with double his mass. Technique and balance are key. Table tennis, ping pong, is the most widely played indoor sport in the world. The ball can reach speeds of over 110 kilometers per hour. Basketball was invented in 1891 using peach baskets. It took years before the bottom of the basket was cut out so the ball could fall through. The marathon is based on the legend of Pheidippides, but the modern distance of 42.195 kilometers was set at the 1908 London Olympics, so the race could start at Windsor Castle and finish in front of the Royal Box. Chess has more possible unique games than there are atoms in the observable universe. It is a game of virtually infinite complexity. Bitcoin, the first cryptocurrency, was created in 2009 by a person or group under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto, whose real identity remains a mystery. Luxembourg has the highest GDP per capita in the world, but it is not the wealthiest country in terms of equality. There is a large gap between financial residents and cross-border workers. The country with the most billionaires per capita is Monaco, a small principality that functions as a tax haven and luxury residence hub. The most pirated product in the world is software, but the industry that loses the most money to piracy is pharmaceuticals. McDonald's sells 75 hamburgers per second worldwide. If it were a country, it would rank among the largest economies. The highest denomination banknote currently in circulation is the 10,000 Singapore dollar note, mainly used for interbank transactions. The oldest company in the world still operating is Congo Gumi, founded in 578 as a temple building firm. In 1970, Pepsi engaged in one of the largest barter deals in history, exchanging soft drinks for Soviet ships, which it later sold as Scrave, entering the Russian market. Only about 8% of the world's population has blue passports. Passport colors, blue, red, green, black, often indicate regional or political alliances. About 92% of all global currency exists digitally, rather than physically as cash. The Mandela effect occurs when a large group of people remembers something that never happened, such as the Monopoly mascot wearing a monocle. It is named after those who mistakenly remembered Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. Your brain consumes about 20% of your total energy, even though it represents only 2% of your body weight. It is the most expensive organ to maintain. Memories are not stored as static files. They are reconstructed each time you recall them, meaning they can change and distort over time. Déjà vu is experienced by 60 to 70% of people, especially young individuals. One theory suggests a slight delay in information transmission between the brain's hemispheres. The Rorschach ink blot test is not truly used for diagnosis, but as a projective tool to initiate conversations in therapy. Foreign accent syndrome is a rare neurological condition following brain injury that causes a person to speak their native language with what sounds like a foreign accent. The paradox of choice suggests that more options do not always mean more happiness. They often cause anxiety and dissatisfaction. The placebo effect is so powerful that it can work even when patients know they are taking a placebo. Expectation and ritual activate healing processes in the brain. We dream every night, even if we do not remember it. REM sleep, where the most vivid dreams occur, takes up about 90 to 120 minutes per night. Prosopagnosia is the inability to recognize faces, even those of close relatives. There are more ways to shuffle a deck of cards, 52 factorial, than there are atoms on Earth. 52 factorial is a 68-digit number. The Harry Potter books are banned in some U.S. schools for promoting witchcraft. It is one of the most challenged series of the 21st century. The most common name in the world is Muhammad, counting all its variants, Muhammad, etc. The most common surname is Wang. A jiffy is a real unit of time in physics, the time it takes light to travel 1 Fermi, 1 quadrillionth of a meter. The flag of Nepal is the only national flag that is not rectangular or square. It consists of 2 stacked triangles. The famous Chanel logo's C does not stand for just Chanel, but for Coco Chanel, stylized symmetrically. On December 10, 2010, a Swedish girl named Linnea was symbolically declared the 7 billionth person on Earth by the United Nations. The original Hollywood sign read Hollywoodland and was a real estate advertisement. The last 4 letters were removed in 1949. Brass or copper doorknobs have antimicrobial properties, the oligodynamic effect, and can self-disinfect within hours. Lightning can heat the surrounding air to 30,000 degrees Celsius, 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. This causes the explosive expansion we hear as thunder. Fungi are more closely related to animals than to plants. Although they look like plants, genetically and metabolically, they store glycogen, not starch. They belong to a separate kingdom that is closer to us. Glacial ice acquires an intense blue color due to an optical phenomenon. Pressure compacts the ice, removing air bubbles, allowing it to absorb red and yellow light, while reflecting only blue wavelengths. Sound travels almost 5 times faster in the water, 1,480 meters per second, than in air, 343 meters per second. This is because water molecules are closer together and transmit mechanical vibrations more efficiently. The quetzal, the national bird of Guatemala, cannot survive in captivity. According to legend, if caged, it dies of sadness. Biologically, its specialized diet and need to fly long distances make it nearly impossible to keep in zoos. The electric eel, Electrophorus electricus, can generate shocks of up to 600 volts, enough to stun a horse. It uses these discharges to hunt, defend itself, and with lower pulses to electrolocate prey in murky waters. The ii, a lemur from Madagascar, has a unique hunting method. It taps on trees with its bony, extraordinarily long middle finger, listening to the echo to locate larvae, which it then extracts with the same finger. Bees can recognize and remember human faces. Studies show they can learn to associate a face with a sugar reward, distinguishing between abstract configurations resembling facial features. Corals wage underwater territorial wars. When two coral colonies of different species come into contact, they deploy special tentacles filled with stinging cells, cnidocytes, to attack and damage the competitor. 70% of the oxygen in the atmosphere is produced by algae and phytoplankton in the oceans, not trees. These microscopic organisms are the true lungs of the planet through photosynthesis. Flamingos are born with gray or white feathers. Their iconic pink color comes from carotenoids in their diet of crustaceans, algae, and shrimp. Without this diet, they would lose their characteristic color. Hot water can freeze faster than cold water, a counterintuitive phenomenon known as the Mpemba effect. The exact causes are still debated, but may include evaporation, convection, and dissolved gas effects. All the gold on Earth originated from cosmic cataclysms. It formed in collisions of neutron stars, events so violent that they fused protons and neutrons to create heavy elements like gold, which were later scattered through space. A day on Venus, its rotation, is longer than a year on Venus. Its orbit around the Sun. It takes 243 Earth days to rotate on its axis, but only 225 Earth days to complete one orbit around the Sun. There is a planet called 55 Cancri EE, nicknamed the Diamond Planet. Astronomers believe that beneath its graphite surface, a large portion of its interior may be composed of diamond due to extreme pressure and a carbon-rich composition. The distinctive smell of Earth after rain is called petrichor. It is mainly caused by geosmin, a chemical produced by Streptomyces bacteria present in the soil. A honeybee's memory is not 5 seconds, a common myth, but days or even weeks. They can remember the location and characteristics of flowers, communicate complex directions to their hive mates, and learn from experience. Jupiter's gravity is so powerful that it bends the light from distant stars and its own moons. This gravitational lensing effect is a prediction of Einstein's theory of relativity and is used to detect exoplanets. Black holes make sounds. NASA has converted pressure wave data from galaxy clusters, such as Perseus, into audible sounds. It is not sound traveling through a vacuum, but a sonification of detail that reveals patterns. Common glass is not an ultra-slow flowing liquid, a popular myth, but an amorphous solid. It does not have an ordered crystalline structure like ice. Instead, its molecules are frozen in a disordered arrangement, similar to a liquid. Your Wi-Fi signal is essentially the same phenomenon as visible light. Electromagnetic waves. The difference is wavelength. Wi-Fi waves are about 12 centimeters long, while visible light is measured in micrometers. The lining of your stomach completely renews itself every 3 or 4 days. Otherwise, gastric juices, hydrochloric acid, would digest it, causing ulcers. Epithelial cells have an astonishingly high turnover rate. Babies are born with about 60 more bones than adults. These extra bones, such as those in the skull, are actually softer separate pieces, fontanelles, that fuse during growth to facilitate childbirth and brain development. A sneeze can expel air at speeds of up to 160 kilometers per hour, and a strong cough can reach 100 kilometers per hour. It is the body's explosive way of removing irritants from the respiratory tract. Tooth enamel is the hardest substance in the human body, even harder than bosting. It is mainly composed of hydroxyapatite, a crystalline calcium phosphate mineral that resists abrasion and decay. The skin is the largest organ in the human body. In an average adult, it covers about 2 square meters and weighs between 3.5 and 4.5 kilograms. It is our first line of defense and a complex system for thermal regulations and sensation. Humans are the best long-distance endurance runners in the animal kingdom. Thanks to sweat-based thermoregulation, bipedal posture, and the Achilles tendon, we can exhaust faster prey in long-distance pursuits. Persistence hunting. Hiccups have no known beneficial physiological function. They are an archaic, spasmodic reflex of the diaphragm that may be a vestige of our amphibian ancestors related to gill breathing. Left-handed people tend to use more of their right brain hemisphere for language tasks, while right-handed people predominantly use the left. This suggests a slightly different brain organization, not a simple reversal. Hair and nails grow slightly faster in warm climates. This is because peripheral blood circulation increases with heat, delivering more nutrients to hair follicles and nail matrices. All blue-eyed people share a common ancestor. It is the result of a genetic mutation that occurred between 6,000 and 10,000 years ago near the Black Sea, which switched off the ability to produce melanin in the iris. Ancient Romans used urine as mouthwash and as a cleaning product. Urine contains ammonia, a powerful bleaching and disinfecting agent. Public urine was collected from latrines for use in laundries, phalanike. The Leaning Tower of Pisa has always leaned. Construction began in 1173, and the uneven sinking of the sandy soil underneath started when only 3 floors had been completed. Attempts were made to compensate in the upper levels, but the tilt is inherent to its history. Napoleon Bonaparte was not exceptionally short for his time. He was about 1.69 meters tall, which was average for French men then. The belief that he was very short, Napoleon complex, was British propaganda that caricatured him. The Great Library of Alexandria did not burn in a single catastrophe. Its decline was a long process due to wars, civil unrest, and funding cuts. The famous fire attributed to Julius Caesar likely damaged book warehouses, not the main library. Samurai used wooden pillows called makura. They were not for comfort, but to protect their elaborate hairstyles, chômage, while sleeping. The raised structure prevented the head from touching the ground. The 100 Years' War between England and France actually lasted 116 years, from 1337 to 1453. It was a series of intermittent conflicts with long truces, not continuous fighting for a century. The young Julius Caesar was kidnapped by Cilician pirates in 75 BCE. While captive, he joked that he would crucify them once freed. After paying the ransom, he fulfilled his promise by hunting them down and executing them. The first tweet in history was sent by Jack Dorsey, co-founder of Twitter, on March 21, 2006. It read, "Just setting up my Twitter." The platform would officially launch to the public in July of that year. The RMS Titanic received at least 6 iceberg warnings from other ships on the day it sank, April 14, 1912. These warnings, sent by telegraph, did not reach the bridge with proper urgency, contributing to the disaster. Qin Shi Huang, obsessed with immortality, sent expeditions in search of the elixir of life. Ironically, he died poisoned by mercury pills he believed would grant him eternal life. Crows can recognize and remember individual human faces for years, especially if they associate them with a negative or positive experience. They even pass this information on to other crows. Dogs wag their tails to the right when they are happy or see someone familiar, and to the left when they feel insecure or see a threat. This reflects asymmetric activation of brain hemispheres. The pangolin is the most illegally trafficked mammal in the world. Its scales, made of keratin, like our nails, are in demand in traditional Asian medicine, and its meat is considered a delicacy, pushing it toward extinction. The platypus is a mosaic of features. It has a duck bill, a beaver-like tail, webbed feet, venomous spurs in males, and although it is a mammal, it lays eggs. It is one of the few monotremes on the planet. Adult giraffes sleep less than 30 minutes a day, usually in naps of 1 to 2 minutes at a time. Their vulnerability to predators and the complexity of standing up make prolonged sleep a dangerous luxury. The peregrine falcon is the fastest animal on the planet. In its hunting dive, it can exceed speeds of 390 kilometers per hour thanks to its aerodynamic teardrop shape and powerful flight muscles. Bats are the only mammals capable of true sustained flight, unlike the gliding of flying squirrels. Their wings are actually extremely thin and inflexible skin membranes stretched between elongated fingers. Axolotls, endemic to lakes in Mexico, can regenerate almost any part of their body: limbs, tail, spinal cord, heart, and even parts of their brain, without leaving scars. Dolphins call each other by unique names. Each dolphin develops a characteristic signature whistle during its first year of life, which others use to address it, a phenomenon similar to naming in humans. Moths can remember what they learned as caterpillars. Studies have shown that caterpillars conditioned to avoid a specific smell maintain that aversion after metamorphosing into adult moths, challenging the idea that metamorphosis erases memory. In Lloret de Mar, Spain, there is a municipal ordinance regulating bachelor party tours. It prohibits uncivil behavior, access to certain areas in groups, and the use of inappropriate costumes in public space. Halden Prison in Norway, considered maximum security, has a gourmet kitchen where inmates train with professional chefs and can earn a culinary degree. Its philosophy focuses on rehabilitation, not punishment. The coldest permanently inhabited place on Earth is Oymyakon, Russia. On February 6, 1933, it recorded a temperature of -67.7 degrees Celsius. There, pen ink freezes and fish are sold frozen in markets. In Konya Province, Turkey, there is a submerged forest underwater. It formed after an earthquake in the 1950s, caused the land to sink, flooding a pine forest. Tree stumps still emerge from the lake. Sucre is the constitutional capital of Bolivia, but La Paz is the seat of government and administrative capital. This division is the result of historical conflicts and civil wars between regions of the country. Okunoshima Island in Japan is inhabited by hundreds of friendly wild rabbits. Although they are believed to descend from rabbits used in a secret chemical weapons factory during World War II, today they are the island's main tourist attraction. In the Maldives, the beach on Vadu Island glows with an intense blue luminescence at night. It is caused by bioluminescent phytoplankton, Lingulodinium polyedrum, which emit light when agitated by the waves. About 6,000 years ago, the Sahara Desert was a humid savanna with lakes, rivers, and diverse wildlife, hippopotamuses, crocodiles. A change in Earth's orbit, Milankovitch cycle, altered monsoons and turned it into a desert. Spotted Lake, Kliluk, in Canada, is a saline lake that evaporates in summer, forming colorful pools, green, yellow, blue. The colors come from high concentrations of minerals such as magnesium, calcium, and sulfates. Mount Thor in Canada has the world's longest vertical drop, 1,250 meters. Its granite wall is so steep that it attracts extreme climbers. The average inclination is 105 degrees beyond vertical. If you like our videos, don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. Thank you for making it this far. See you in the next video.